Yes. All right, let's see what the fuck this is gonna be.
30 minutes.
Okay, hold on. We got the strats. We got the strats, dude.
Okay.
We got
Triple speed.
double speed, but you know it's.
Decisions I find myself faced with when playing a game is this one. It's almost always the first choice you make, and it is one of the biggest factors of what kind of.
Is it good? Did you hear the audio and everything?
Yeah,
All right.
I can hear it. Yeah.
Wait, fuck, my chat is busted. Hold on, let me refresh real quick. Oh, Mingo, hey, can we remake Gunvey next year? Yeah, all right.
Yeah, time for the remake.
Okay. Everything's good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the hardest decisions I find myself faced with when playing a game is this one. It's almost always the first choice you make, and it is one of the biggest deciding factors on what kind of experience you're going to have. For the longest time, it's something I never paid much mind to. Always just like
Mark?
or whatever seemed to be its equivalent, because I figured that.
Yes.
Why didn't you fucking pick veteran?
Oh, relax. I'm gonna play veteran next.
Okay, yeah.
I wanted to get the full. Want to play normal first to get the feel for it before I just go right into veteran.
Yeah, but it's like
Okay, so I know the difference
decides
between the difficulty modes.
it decides your experience, all of it. All right. Okay, let's go.
Like it's literally called normal, so you assume the game.
Okay, go back to the
But
start.
more recently, I've
We
realized
have
that's
to
not
always
the
talk
case.
about the start of every video.
Experience. Like it's literally called normal, so you assume the game must be
The
best
most
balanced around that
important
mode.
part
But
of
more
every
recently, I
video
realized
is the
that's not
first minute.
Okay, hold on. Let me. It's like.
It's literally called normal, so you assume the game must be best balanced around that mode. But more recently, I've
No,
realized that's not always the
go
case.
to the
One example
literal
is-
start. I mean,
Oh, you
literally
don't want to
0,
fucking
0, 0.
restart the whole. Okay. Still waiting.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
One of the hardest
Let's
decisions
do
I
it.
find myself faced with when playing a game is this one. It's almost always the first choice you make, and it is one of the biggest deciding factors on what kind of experience you're going to have. For the longest time,
keeping
it's
an
something I never
internal
paid much mind
timer.
to, always just selecting normal or whatever seemed to be its equivalent, because I figured that must be the intended experience. Like it's literally called normal, so you assume the game must be best balanced around that mode. But more recently, I've realized that's not always the case. One example of this that I've touched on a bit in the past can be seen with The Witcher 3. Its normal option, Story and Swords, provides a
Hold
decent
on, we're
challenge and
still
certainly
going.
may be a good option for some, but I found it to be underwhelming.
Huh? What? Okay, this is too fast. Hold on. This is a little bit too fast.
What? I had no problem with this.
Well, I have no problem keeping up, but if you start talking mid the stream, it's like, oh fuck, okay, what's going on? All right.
Oh, he's
Well, I
just
mean, as I was able to
blabbering,
pretty
so it's
easily beat
okay.
the game
Hold on. Is the
to be underwhelming, as I was able to pretty easily beat the game without engaging with most of its systems. Aside from a few tutorial
I'm
quests that forced me
watching
to help
to
me in
see
the
for
area, I
something.
pretty much ignored them entirely, because in the time it would take me to read up on a monster's weakness and create an oil or the
Hey,
cocktail to
chat.
help me take it out, I could have already killed it and been on to the
Hey,
next one.
chat.
Using those mechanics didn't feel worth my time, which is a bummer because they're interesting systems that encourage exploring and engaging with the world
God.
and lore in meaningful ways. They are an important piece of what makes The Witcher 3's gameplay loop feel so good.
Look
And
at
as I
the
didn't use them,
time
I missed out on
stamp.
most of that. So once I finished
what
my
did you just
playthrough-
fucking say?
I said keep the timestamp going. Like keep your cursor so that we can see the timestamp.
Okay, Jesus. Impatient.
I walked away from
Well, do you
it.
want to do the player expression one first, maybe, because it's shorter?
No.
Okay. It feels like this is easier to talk about, right? Because, like, all right, let's see.
Yes, it's way easier.
Then last year,
But
I had a
here's
handful of
the
build
thing.
games that
Okay,
didn't
pause it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna monologue. So I was doing the Digibro thing where I was watching to see how long it takes for him to introduce the topic of the video.
Topic of the video, yeah.
We are still 1:18 in, and we have still not arrived to the topic of the video.
Okay, but you gotta. Okay, but I feel like if you over focus on that, you're gonna miss the actual things he's
he
saying.
hasn't.
Because sometimes
hasn't-
videos don't have a clear topic, but they still make interesting points, right?
He hasn't made a point yet. We're in a
Yeah.
minute 18
Well,
in
he
yet.
has made one point, right? The difficulties, the normal modes often undermine the mechanics by being too easy because like a lot of the interesting elements don't show.
But he hasn't even stated the thesis yet.
Well, yeah, but you're
So-
focused. See, that's the problem. You're too focused on the thesis. You can like, sometimes the videos aren't well written. Mark, I'm sorry. You're judging it on like a video, but we're interested in what he's saying, right?
Okay. I'll turn off. I'll turn off my
turn off your fucking
of
content
writing.
creator brain. Try to judge it
Yes,
as
yes,
like
okay.
this is your friend Bob. He's talking about difficulty.
Okay,
Let's see.
You're right. Okay, Bob, let's
With
go.
higher difficulty, I finally fully dedicated myself to a Death March playthrough, and it felt like an entirely different game. All of the mechanics I once ignored became integral to my success, as certain fights were simply impossible without them. It encouraged a playstyle that pushed me to learn about the world and think carefully about every encounter, making me feel like a Witcher instead of a typical
This
video
is
game
God of
hero.
War,
And this made
right?
it so much more distinct.
That was Witcher. It really made him feel like the Witcher, dude.
I didn't know what game we
Yeah,
were
this
talking about.
this is God of War 2, Mark. She has a bow. She, it's like an openish world.
You could honestly fool me into believing that.
Yeah, well, fucking give a bunch of shmups to people who have no interest in their.
It says Witcher 3 right in the timestamp.
Yeah, all right.
From most other open world games I've played. Now, I don't think Death March fixes every issue with the game or its combat, but at the very least, it got me to approach it in a much more enjoyable way than I did the first time.
Is
The
Death
thing is,
March
if I hadn't
Witcher?
read up on it and been told by friends... to
Death
give
March is the difficulty he's playing on, so it's like he went through it on normal. It was really fucking boring, so he switched to Death March, and then it got a lot more interesting because like, well, let's see why. Let's see him explain why exactly. Okay, hold on.
combat, but at the very least, it got me to approach it in a much more enjoyable way than I did the first time. The thing is, if I hadn't read up on it and been told by friends to give Death March another shot, I never would have known to try it. And even if I had decided to start with it unprompted, I would have changed difficulties almost immediately, because the first encounter absolutely wrecked me. Like, I died over 5 times to these stupid ghouls. On Death March, they have the capability to take you out in just a few hits, and as you don't have any notable gear or items, there are no advantages to lean on. Also, given my pretty simple experience on Story and Swords, I wasn't used to needing to dodge so frequently.
Dude, this is so fucking common in AAA games. Where you pick a the high. What are we looking at right now? Sora asks. It's a video. We're gonna try this format. It's gonna be
commentary on videos.
Yeah. We're gonna just watch some video essays
stream.
And see if there's like interesting stuff we can talk about. You know.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah, like it might be iffy.
The stream better like it because I'm excited.
Well, you know, yeah, it might be iffy at first, but we'll grow into it, dude. It's like a learning experience.
Exactly, I'm excited about
Yeah, okay, so
we might start doing this on my channel too.
Yeah, AA games do this so fucking often, like on harder difficulties, where the first encounter is the hardest thing in the fucking game, or like some early.
It's also they don't balance the
because there's no balance.
So they didn't balance the hard mode. Well, yeah, because they make it like OP as shit.
Yeah, it's literally just like
it's
like
depend on stats.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
like
why stat-based combat's stupid.
Yeah, it's like they multiply every stat in the game by a certain fucking value, and they're like, whatever.
We'll call it good.
Statistical balance, dude, versus natural balance. It's so back the concepts. Okay.
So given my pretty simple experience on Story,
well, yeah, that's one of the big problems, right? Because like it creates these kinds of shitty, especially in RPGs where the combat options open up as you get more fucking spells early on.
It actually, you know what it actually does is it creates an inverse difficulty.
Yeah, inverse difficulty. Yeah,
it's hard at the start and gets fucking easy.
Yeah, as you get more options and ways to like bypass this.
That happened in Final Fantasy 16. That's why I said the game gets worse as you get further. Because the start's the best part, because it strips back, it's more combat focused, it's more natural gameplay, and then as it gets further, it gives you more and more spells and shit. So then it turns into an RPG.
But then what it often does is the early on you have so little options that it's literally like a spank and run away, a game of spank and run away. Because you don't, for example, have a lot of crowd control spells. You don't have a. Because I remember.
FF16 actually did a good job about this because I think they actually play tested the early part of the game. Before that.
What?
Like
are you crazy?
Yeah, no. In FF16, I was impressed against my own will because I was like, "Oh shit!" They actually did kind of
play tested. Oh holy shit!
Play test it, but you can tell as the game gets further, they're like, "Fuck that!" You just get more spells, and then they're like, "Okay, you're good."
Yeah.
So it feels like they really worked super hard on the first third of that game. Then as it gets further, they're just like, all right, we're good enough.
Yeah,
it goes RPG mode.
Yeah, it reminds me of Dragon's Dogma, which had like the early moment. You basically got one shot by everything in the game early on. Then once you get they fucked up so badly that basically what happens is early on it's really difficult because you get one shot. But the way it works is hard mode gives you more XP over time. So if you stick with it, you level up so much more than the fucking enemies than in normal mode. You outpace your levels on normal mode by quite a bit, and it kind of balances out to whether either it's as easy as normal mode or it's even easier. Fucking hard mode, dude. Like action RPG balancing is fucking dog shit. Jesus Christ.
It is.
Yeah, it reminds me of Yeah.
Does that happen in Dark Souls, or do they?
Yeah, that does happen because like in Dark Souls, it's like you finish the main game, then you go to New Game Plus, which buffs all the enemies.
Cruise.
Yeah, and you just annihilate. And I think it's like I forgot which one. You get to like NG plus 4, and that's when it starts getting more difficult again because like the stat things balances out. Like the enemies get buffed enough that you can't quite. Annihilate them, but yeah, it's like the fucking RPG difficulty balancing is awful. All right.
I wasn't used to needing to dodge so frequently or wait for openings to attack, so it took me a good while to get those things down. Had this been my first playthrough, I would have made the very fair assumption that I was in over my head, as dying so many times during what is for all intents and purposes still part of the tutorial is a pretty clear sign that you should turn the difficulty down. But in reality, Death March isn't nearly as punishing as this first encounter makes it out to be. To be honest, I struggled more with this one than any other I came across throughout my 100+ hour playthrough, and the only thing that killed me more than these ghouls was gravity. My whole experience with The Witcher 3 illustrates one of the bigger issues that comes from having difficulty options. If players don't pick the right one, it can turn a game they would have otherwise really loved into one that never manages to impress them. And it all starts with having to make a guess of which setting will be right for them.
Yeah.
That's not the problem. He thinks. See, here's his problem. He thinks The Witcher 3 is a good example of difficulty design, and so he's then broadening it out to like a
to other
of like hard modes are problem because they could throw you off. they're only a problem if they fucking suck. And that's the thing, is The Witcher clearly is doing that thing we're talking about, where they just turned up the stats without balancing the actual like encounters or anything.
Yeah, or creating dynamics.
And then it's creating the reverse difficulty curve. So he feels the reverse difficulty curve, but he thinks it's like all difficulties like.
Yeah, that's just well, at some point you will hit a point, where just the extent of a game's difficulty is gonna be really like it's not the quality, but just like some people won't be able to tolerate that shit, right? And like if you get to a certain if you buff it enough, like if someone plays the average gamer plays Ninja Gaiden 2 on Master Ninja, they're not gonna fucking have a good time, right?
Yeah, but doesn't Ninja Gaiden 2 tell you when you open up Master Ninja, this is fucking crazy?
You can't even open it up until you beat the game, right? So it's
exactly. So they thought about that.
Yeah, they thought about that. but then that harms me because I want to fucking play it on, for example.
I know what they should do. There's a
Doom solution. Yeah, the Doom solution.
Well, here's a really funny. It's simple, but it's really funny. Is you put it in like the options, like so you start it and it has like normal hard mode, but if you want to go to Master Ninja, you can like go in the options menu and like turn on Master Ninja and then it appears. So it's like if it's there, but then it prevents dumbass like noobs from going to Master Ninja.
Well, yeah, one of the fucking things I feel that creates this problem is just like the developers being stupid, because it's like, they're like, oh, how can I craft the perfect like difficulty names? Why don't you literally just fucking tell the player like exactly?
Yeah,
like,
I know. I hate that shit.
Yeah, right. Why does it have to be so fucking elegant? Literally, like this difficulty is, if you fucking, I don't know, just even compare it to other games if needed, like fucking for example, at least with the Resident Evil 5, right? It's like, okay, there's the normal mode and there's the veteran mode. Veteran is clearly for people who played Resident Evil 4 before, so
Yeah. It even says that. It says if you played Resident Evil before. I hate these difficulty naming conventions where it's like Nightmare, Double X, Dante Must Die.
Just the sword, story and sword, blood and broken bones, death march. Yeah.
It also sucks. Japanese hard mode and all that. It also sucks too, because if you're uploading videos on YouTube, people don't know what the fuck Japanese hard mode is. So then you have to explain. It's like ultra hard.
Dude, that's a big.
You have to change the stupid name anyway, so just name it ultra hard.
Yeah, that's the big fucking problem when I'm looking up. Like, I'm checking out like a PS2 action game. Like, okay, how does this play at like the peak, the absolute, apex of its difficulty? And I don't know what the fuck to look for, because like there's the hard mode could be called God knows what. Could be like fucking
exactly.
Yeah, call it super hard on mode. Okay. Yeah, chat, sorry we're not answering because we're focused on high grade, high level analysis. All right.
Wait, are we supposed to interact with chat at the same time?
Yeah, that's too much. Fuck that. That's
no. I thought this was like a presentation in the chat.
Hell no.
Like, they talk among themselves a little bit.
Yeah. Guys have fun. Guys have fun. Just
Okay, Bog will talk to chat, and I will, and you'll say things, and then I'll respond to it.
Okay.
So I've got 3 windows open right now, so it's too much to try and track.
How's House of Bullets going?
Oh, it's going well in a way, but the thing about House of Bullets is I can't work on it. I made this rule: I can't work on it until the channel cools down, and the channel is not cooling down; it's red hot. So what am I supposed to do? If the channel's cooking, the rule is if the channel's cooking, I don't work on it. I work on the
You're
channel.
like 80 years old, the channel's still fucking cooking. Well, that's a good problem to have. At that point,
exactly, but that's the rule.
Well, at that point,
you can't put the cart before the horse.
Yeah, at that point,
the channel comes before House of Bullets, and I started working on House of Bullets when the channel was like stagnant, and I was like, I need something creative to do without going insane. So as soon as the channel like calms down, I'll get working on it. But the channel's cooking too hard right now. So
after if it keeps
about it, I sit and think about it all the time. Like,
yeah, if it keeps cooking, you can just pay someone to make it. Yeah,
I know exactly. Yeah, I pay Bog Hog to make it.
Just hard.
I become your real boss.
No, yeah, fucking. Now you'll throw some money into the dungeon instead of just like food scraps.
Food.
Like, bones.
Food scraps and money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, continue the video.
All right, let's go.
If it were just about players having to assess their skill level in any given genre, that'd be hard enough. But they also have to contend with the fact that every title is balanced differently. And a hard mode in one game is not the same as a hard mode in another. Honestly, when it comes to The Witcher 3, I still don't know if the reason I like Deathmarch so much is because I'm an above average player or because CD Projekt Red did a bad job of picking out what their default mode should be. When playing something new, the only thing I can really base my
You know, the fucking one of the things I mind is in this kind of analysis where people talk about like, oh, which difficulty mode should I play? Which one is perfect for me? It's like it's always based around like the flow state. You know, the basic assumption is that it needs like the perfect amount of friction where you don't get frustrated, you don't get really heavily discouraged. It has to hit that perfect spot, you know. And I don't fucking feel like games should do that because, you know, sometimes you get frustrated, you fucking all right, let me fucking lecture. Yeah, sometimes you just get frustrated at a game. You get really pissed off, and then you come back to it, and you get really into it. You know, it's like the whole Dark Souls thing. You know, people jerk off about Dark Souls. It's not because if it had an easy mode, I imagine a lot of people wouldn't like realize about themselves that more difficult games can be fun. You know, sometimes having to like learn the fucking roll timing is really fun. But you don't have any frustrations. Isn't that too easy? Yeah, well, yeah, that's the point, right? Well, you need a little bit of like, I mean that's like the whole flow theory, you know. It's like if it's too difficult and your skill is if your skill is too low, then you get frustrated.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm back.
did you hear what I said?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, like this whole analysis, like it assumes that you need to have this like smooth flow state experience, but to me, it's like you got to earn that shit, right? And in earning that shit, you discover what kind of games you like and what kind of games you don't.
Yeah,
And I
agreed.
think-
Because yeah, it's that thing I talked about in the arcade video where it's like people don't want to be pushed out of that comfort zone, but being pushed out of that comfort zone is what creates the flow state. You can't have it both ways. You can't be flowing and comfortable.
Well, I
you got to
think
be
flow is like
pushed.
yeah. Well, I think flow is like a natural consequence of you learning a fucking game. It shouldn't be something
Exactly.
you
Yeah,
optimize
no, that's
for.
exactly
Yeah,
it.
it's like
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, you want to see the game at its full potential, and then you can like work up your way to the reward, which is like a flow state. That it's not like
To give it like a real term in my mind, it's like the breakthrough. It's like when you are breaking
Yeah.
through concepts and understanding them. That's when you experience the quote unquote flow
yeah,
state.
well, it's
When
not
you're
just the
breaking
flow
through.
state. It's like a long-term satisfaction. That's literally like you're describing a lot of people's experience with Dark Souls and Sekiro and shit.
And like any difficult game.
Yeah, I
But
mean, yeah,
if
but
the game's easy, you won't experience it because
Yeah.
you're not pushed into
yeah,
that
we didn't
mindset.
fucking grow up playing shmups. We fucking got into them. It's like an acquired taste, and it's important to acquire taste, you know. Because like you
Exactly.
literally, if you get turned off and you don't deal with the frustration, don't come back, then you won't get into these fucking games. You won't experience the
can't.
fun of it.
You can't.
Yeah, you can't. Literally, your taste will be in stasis, and I don't think that's good. That's a
And
good.
that's what a lot of people are.
Yeah, that's
People's tastes are in stasis.
yeah. There's got to be some, you know. You want to kind of push yourself a little bit. You don't have to fucking force yourself to play shit you don't like all the time, but like at least a bit, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a lesson I literally had to learn, and the day I learned it, it kind of really helped me.
Yeah,
The day-
I
I can't
sometimes
remember what
have.
game it was, but it was some game that I was like, when I first started playing, I'm like, oh, this is stupid.
For me,
And
I
then
think
I forced myself to play it, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, like this
this is
important.
awesome. Yeah, I think for me, the
Yeah.
first time when it was like a conscious thing was Castlevania Order of Ecclesia on the DS. I think that's literally like I played that and I got fucking pissed off at the crab boss as it happens. And then I was like, "Fuck, this game is really annoying." But then, you know, I kept playing. I fucking love that game, and it's like, wait, it's fun. You know, like I can push myself. It's fun. It gets more and more fun the more I push myself. You know.
Yeah, I've had that a lot with like action games and stuff. I
Yeah.
can't remember the exact first one, but I remember that moment really clearly.
Yeah.
As far as like understanding that concept.
It's not about frustration. It's about pushing players to explore game systems and reapproaching situations instead of just getting through it by intuition. Yeah, exactly. Like you want to see the guts of the game. You know. You want them
Yeah, it's really a
exposed.
different mentality. It truly is because when you're, for example, Resident Evil 5, that's the next video I'm working on. I came into Resident Evil. That's actually a great example because when I first played Resident Evil 5 years ago, I played it for about an hour, and I was like, okay, the hit stun's less, and I don't like his punch. Fuck this game.
Yeah.
That's really. And then I just played Resident Evil 4 for 10 years because I was mad about the hit stun and I was mad about his punch. And then
And somehow you missed
came in
Sheva.
to do the review. Yes. And then, well, it was on the 360, so she wasn't as glorious.
True.
And then I played it with in mind, okay, I'm going to actually analyze this game system. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to see what I can find. And I'm fucking loving the game right now. So it's like, if you come into it understanding that there's things you could look for that you may not see at first, it really opens up mechanics and combat a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of gamers now, they just like, oh, it's not freaking Devil May Cry. That's the only combat system I understand.
It doesn't have a lock on. Yeah. Well,
it doesn't have a lock on, so it's not good.
It's also a view of like games as experiences or games as a a challenge.
Entertainment. Entertainment.
Well, yeah. Well, no, just like a challenge, right? Because you wouldn't apply this to any other skill or like activity. You wouldn't be like, oh, I got frustrated learning like fucking mountain, rock climbing and shit.
I think people do though.
Do
because
they? Well, they do, but like they wouldn't.
With films,
but they wouldn't. But they wouldn't consider that a problem of the activity. They would be like, okay, I couldn't. I was films, yeah, but like the thing is, like
films,
yeah, but that's the difference because they treat films as experiences, right? But they treat shit like rock climbing as an activity that's like a challenge. You got to fucking get used to it. Yeah.
Or like. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, and so if they treat games as experiences, then yeah, they'll be basically approaching them the same way they approach films.
Right, and that's kind of the idea.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the key issue. I don't know. Yeah. Let's see.
Decision off of is what difficulty level I went with for other games. And even though it might get me close a lot of the time, it obviously is a flawed way to do it because it is using irrelevant information. It takes actually playing something to have any real idea. But as I already pointed out with the ghouls, even that can be misleading. An early lull or spike in difficulty can give an inaccurate depiction of what a setting will be like to play long term. The logical solution to this problem is to just switch difficulties throughout a playthrough. When things start to feel mindless, bump it up, and
don't do that.
What?
What? Do you support that view? Switch difficulties as you go. Let me switch the to me, that's no. I'm very against that concept because that's breaking the whole. That's more of that. What do you call it? Like games
pandering design.
No. Like no, that's choose to play.
Choose your own adventure. Yeah.
Choose your adventure, right? That's your more choose your own adventure game experience of like, oh, I find the boss hard. I don't want to experience hard. So I'll turn it easy. Oh, I find fighting random mooks in a field easy, so I'll make that hard. It's just, again, you're not allowing the game to create its own sense of flow. You're like, oh.
Yeah, you're like imposing your own idea.
I really dislike that idea.
I'm mixed on that. I feel like it's like an implementation thing, because you could have like, for example, swappable difficulties, but there would be some kind of major downside. Like, a good idea would be, okay, let's say you have a shmup, right? And you like Death Smiles, right? You play Death Smiles, you played 2 levels on level 3, and then you're like, okay, I want to go with level 2.
Guess what?
Guess what? Yeah.
Death Smiles don't allow that shit because if you go level 3, you can't go back.
Eventually, yeah, but like early on, you can, right? But even if Death Smiles doesn't, I feel like you could do that. You could make a game with that kind of like a design that would work pretty well. Just as long as it has like a incentive structure where someone who sticks with it is heavily rewarded with something.
I'm sure you're right, and intellectually I think you're right, but emotionally I do not.
But I hate this. Yeah. Well, it's complicated, right? Usually my
emotions.
No. I think what the problem is. I think the problem is that it feels annoying because the need to do that shit doesn't come from like an artistic place, but just because players are really
convenient.
Yeah, but if it comes from like an artistic, game design place, then I think it'll be a lot more, a lot easier to go down.
Yeah, like if the game did things, like if the game recognized you're doing it and like punished you in some funny ways, I'd be more open to that. Like the game, even if the game kind of mocked you a little bit when you're doing it.
Yeah, like fucking Ninja Dog. Vasily is saying switching the difficulty exists for one reason. You pick the hardest one, you realize it's just health sponges and that it's an unbalanced mess nobody tested, and you go change it to medium. But that's like, at that point, right?
But here's the difference.
Let games be bad.
Here's the Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
Yeah.
The difference in me is that I don't feel the reward of I'm going to help the developer make their difficulty curve good or bad. It's basically like if it's good, I will continue. If it's bad, I'm playing a different game.
But yeah, exactly.
I don't do this I'm going to tailor your game to work.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of like the character action fans, they talk about games as in like consumer advice. You know, you bought this game, you're stuck with it. How do you make the best of it? Like a fucking Stockholm syndrome cope. You know, it's
exactly. That's what it is.
Yeah, and it's like okay, if you spend the money, if you spent your money, then yeah, sure, okay. It's like fuck, but if I don't know, if you're fucking trying,
I don't have that. I really don't have that. That might just be something about me. Like,
yeah, but if you spend $50,
I don't have this sunken. Yeah, no, I don't. Like, I spent fucking $80 or whatever it was on FF16. I played it. It got shitty halfway through. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, but okay, but Mark, you got a nice video out of it. That's the problem, right?
No, but it didn't make enough to justify it.
Yeah, but you got enough intellectually, you satisfied your fucking intellectual
and
needs.
That's really how I justified it.
That is true. Yeah, like for the average person who is not fucking working. Yeah, that's the advice. That's the consumer advice. Make a channel where
you can bitch about it to your friends at least.
True. Yeah, at least you get like you get an interesting social experience. Yeah, that's how I engaged with Resident Evil 5. I was like, I played it, I got fucking mad, then I went to talk about it, and I feel like I got a good experience out of it. All right.
Continue.
But I find that this is easier said than done. For instance, I like the feeling I get from overcoming challenging games. So when I run into an obstacle that seems out of my league, a part of me always wants to figure out how to get past it. Even though I don't think I should feel this way, lowering the difficulty seems like a sort of failure. It's me giving up on the chance to enjoy the sweet satisfaction of being good. There are times
because
where
it is.
But more often than not, I feel inclined to just keep pushing through.
Okay, it is a failure, and people will be like, "Oh, elitist prick," but I'm saying someone is failing here.
Yeah.
So it's either you or the dev, and it could be the dev.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, if you have a game where you're just in it and you are trying so hard, and it's just like this brick wall.
It's just and it's also garbage.
It's probably the dev. Yeah, and it's just garbage, bullets, hit sponges and all that. There is a failure occurring there, but it could be the developer.
Yeah,
it's not you. It could be the developer.
Yeah, so there's two choices, feel bad or blame the developer, get angry, go on.
That's really it.
Yeah.
Because this is not tenable. This whole idea of like, oh, if the game sucks, let me change the difficulty. I don't agree with this concept. So someone is failing. It's either you or the dev.
Yeah, you gotta fucking let the games be shitty. You just gotta accept that sometimes games are fucking ass, and there's nothing you can do about that. All right. It's not even your responsibility. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't need to cope.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I kind of get it from like the average player, but when the critics do that shit, that really bothers me. Yeah. For the average player,
players, you can do whatever you want as the average player.
Yeah, it's like Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, it's like you fucking wasted $60 on this. Like, okay, I understand why I would want to make it work, unless you have refunds. You fucking use the refunds, but I understand the mentality. But look, we're fucking critics. Like, it's your job to. It's not your job to unfuck the games for the developers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trying regardless of how frustrating it gets. Putting this much effort into conquering a challenge certainly can pay off. But with some titles, it really only serves to hurt its general vibe and pacing. Like playing The Last of Us on the highest
difficulty. The vibe and pacing. Oh no.
Wait a minute. No. You know what? No. He went from like a stupid point to what could potentially be an awesome point because he's about to critique the holy grail of the best game ever made. Last of Us.
But
is he gonna shit talk The Last of Us difficulty? If he does, I will accept the whole vibe and pace thing.
Okay.
As like he doesn't know what he's talking about, but
okay.
Let's see it.
All right,
let's see it. Will he do it?
Like playing The Last of Us on the highest difficulty has its merits, but for many, it will lead to getting torn apart by clickers so many times that they'll forget what Joel and Ellie are even trying to do. Getting through these encounters will probably.
That's kind of an interesting point where the story, because it's most obvious in horror games where if you repeat the same section over and over, it stops being scary. You view it as a mechanical challenge, right? It's not a it's what you're talking about, like how games have this inherent tension between the story elements and the gameplay elements. So literally, like so it's like you can't have both to some extent, right?
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. You cannot.
Yeah, so like
It's going to be a highly controversial video on the channel soon.
yes, it's like a little bit annoying that he's so focusing on the fucking story, but there's a point in there.
That's what he wants.
That's
what he's
agree,
wanting.
but it will come at the cost of the game's story, which I'd argue is a much more important aspect, especially during a first playthrough. As for turning the difficulty up, I'm often resistant to this as well because I never know what's coming up ahead. If I bump it up and then the next area is far more challenging, I may have to turn it back down again, which would feel kind of bad. Furthermore, I worry that jumping between
shit talk it as much as I wanted.
Yeah, too many games.
He kind of like alluded to it sucks. He's like, yeah, it sucks, but we won't talk about that. But this is a legitimate question I often run into with my critiques of games. Is there are gamers, this guy must be one of them, who he said outright, the story is more important than the gameplay.
Yeah.
He just if he outright believes that, I mean, it like disarms a lot of my critiques.
Yeah, what can you fucking say?
Okay, Yeah,
well,
so you don't care if the gameplay sucks, basically. See, if you don't care if the gameplay sucks, a lot of what I say doesn't matter.
Yeah, but see, that's what I was talking about with the fucking honesty. Because if I'm playing Ace Attorney, like I would be an idiot to expect the gameplay to matter there more than anything, right? It's like, okay,
but once you make the argument, and you made the argument past that Ace Attorney is one of the rare examples where it actually integrates. Okay,
hold on. Okay, how about like
Last of Us?
Well, I haven't played it,
but a game, really egregious example.
A game with a really good story and shitty game. Oh, fucking! I really liked Hotel Dusk on the DS, and that has fucking awful gameplay. But like, I could criticize the gameplay, but then I would criticize it in a way like how to make it less intrusive, not necessarily to make it better. And it's like, at that point, it's so obvious what the game is trying to do, like that it's completely focused on the story, and the game is just like kind of like a little extra spice, to the fucking on the interactive story that it's hard to criticize it, You could, but you'd feel like a fucking idiot for doing that, right?
Well, I think what these guys should have, and I'm not saying this sarcastically, I think these Last of Us, Final Fantasy remakes and shit, I think they should have an autoplay mode. Just accept the truth. Let's just
exactly.
Be outright honest.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't give
honesty.
A flying F about the gameplay. Let's have an autoplay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like honesty above all, because it's the same with depth, right? You play an action game and it turns out to be shallow, and you get annoyed. But if you play a rhythm game, you expect it to be shallow. You expect it to be like a very execution based. It's hard to like they kind of condition your expectation with these fucking gameplay story hybrids where you expect like a good game but then they just focus on the story. Yeah. Let's see.
These might undermine certain moments.
Wait, Mark, are you fucking alive? Uh-oh, Mark is gone, fellas. He's so gone, beyond gone. All right. let me check chat in the Rhythm games, Simon Says. Yeah, pretty much like the ultimate Simon Says. The funnest type of Simon Says, because, I would say they're like just very kinetic, They're not, because they have no depth. Like literally, there's no depth. You just do exactly the thing that the game wants you to do at the exact right time. There's no, actually, you know what's interesting about fucking rhythm games? Like,
I'm back.
Okay.
It's gonna happen.
Oh, dude, I was about to fucking drop a banger here. I was
about rhythm games.
Yeah, about rhythm games. Right, but
I can hear you.
The interesting thing about rhythm games, like you say that you will say that, like, for example, okay, rhythm games have no depth, but I feel that's very
I wouldn't say that.
Wait, why not?
Because the depth comes from the mechanical aspects of the actually hitting the.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. If you talk about like how they have depth, you can't view them as just like the things happening on screen, the things happening in code. You have to view the physical motions you do to hit the inputs.
That's the whole point.
Yeah,
that's the whole point of the game.
And there's like a legitimate strategy. You sometimes like you move your fucking finger to a different position, and you're like, okay, this makes it a lot harder to move it in fucking a different direction. And there's like a whole game, physical game going on. And what's a good analogy for this? Puzzle games. Puzzle games have no fucking in-game gameplay. It's like you do the thing you want to do, but in your mind you go through like a bunch of different paths towards the solution. Somewhere, there's like a whole dynamic going on in your fucking brain.
There's another really obvious example, which is light gun games.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the depth of those comes from the physical interaction with your light gun. Because you can play them with a mouse and keyboard, and they're not that interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
it's still
you
fine.
You need that physical. Yeah. They're okay, but they're just not. They're meant to have that physical depth with the peripheral. I think rhythm games are like that too because they have their special peripherals. Like on a DDR, you're supposed to be on the dance pad, and
Yeah,
the depth
exactly.
comes from interacting with that physical.
Yeah, and
peripheral.
I mean,
So it's a different kind of depth, but I still think
yeah,
it
and
counts.
ultimately, like, what's the point of depth, right? Why do we care about depth, especially in single player games? The depth is literally just to make the learning more interesting, right? It's not to like, it's not valuable in and of itself. And if you have that layer of learning happening physically when you're interacting with the peripheral, that's enough.
Yeah, there's certain strats you do on an actual
yes.
light gun
Oh,
that
yes.
you wouldn't do on a mouse and keyboard. Like the way you have to shoot off screen to reload. Like you have like I have special movements of my hand to make that faster.
Yeah.
That's like a gameplay thing that if you have a mouse and keyboard, that technique disappears because you don't
Yeah,
have the
exactly.
physical peripheral
It's like
to
literally
deal
a
with.
physical game. Yeah, even though
Yeah.
the fucking shit happening on screen just provides you the rule set. The mechanics happen with your body.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
soccer. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's
I think
interesting.
it's
Yeah,
cool.
it's cool. Yeah. All right. What the fuck were we talking about?
Depth,
No, yeah, but before that.
depth, and difficulty.
Oh, before the honesty, right? Yeah, honesty. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
So I
question for
kind
you.
of agree with him. That's my point. I agree with him with The Last of Us. I think The Last of Us, the story is more important because the gameplay's stupid. So if the game has any merit, it's the story that people won't shut up about.
Have you played
so,
The Last of Us?
Uh-huh.
Oh god, yeah, I haven't played it myself.
Oh god.
Dude.
My friend back I played it during the height of its like, oh my god,
Uh-oh.
greatest game of all time. And I played it and I was like, am I just insane or does this game suck? And everyone's like, no, man, it's a masterpiece.
Did Matthew Matosis publishes his video? Or like,
I know. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I've played it.
All right.
And I wanted to slit my wrists.
All right, Jesus, chill. Okay, let's fucking the world's most serious, dramatic gamer over here. Holy shit. Okay.
I'm very emo today.
Yeah, fucking. All right. Okay, let's continue.
Especially easy or hard, there very well could be an intended and important reason for that. A pretty famous example of this sort of thing can be seen with God of War 2018 when Kratos is preparing to go to Helheim. In order to weather the conditions of the realm of the dead, he has to retrieve the Blades of Chaos, weapons from his past that he hoped to keep buried. On the way to get them, he's confronted by a group of Hellwalkers, all of whom are resistant to the icy nature of the Leviathan axe, essentially forcing the player to use Kratos' fists and shield to take them out. This leads to a pretty grueling and demanding fight, where the weapon he comes
just not a real point. This sounds like such fucking nerd shit. Because God of War is supposed to be like the normie fucking Giga Chad game, but it's just a fucking.
It's a nerd game.
The secret Nordic axe is used against the hell spawn. All right, just kind of funny.
Is he saying that difficulty is justified by its
yes, the story
Ludo narrative? Are we getting Ludo narrative?
Yes, we're getting
baby?
Ludo narrative here, dude. We're getting the new Ludo narrative.
fight.
Oh, yeah.
It's time to go get Ludo narrative.
Let's get Ludo narrative.
Let's get Ludo narrative, yeah.
By another group of Hellwalkers, and all the tension and frustration that was built up from the previous fight is immediately unleashed as Kratos slices through them with ease, demonstrating a clear increase to his power that thematically aligns with the narrative.
Yeah, because if
But
you
were
care
to lower
about
the
stories in games above all, this matters.
Yeah, he just said that. Yeah.
Yeah. If you care about story in games above all, this matters. That's legitimately
Ludo
matter.
narrative stuff. Yeah.
It does legitimately fucking matter. Yeah.
No, it would be even better if you had an autoplay and you could just watch.
I don't know, but then, because the interaction, the real tension actually does impact how you perceive the story, right? Like, in Ace Attorney, like, if you made it an anime, it would lose a lot because the way you investigate the crimes in that fucking game, the way you like put together pieces of evidence, the way like there's a little bit of stakes, if you fuck up the piece of evidence you're presenting, you can go back to a previous chapter and shit. There's like an actual tension to that thing, and which does impact how you perceive the story, how it feels emotionally. So like you can't.
Yeah, but what game journalists and game as story theorists never talk about is the pace, because let's say, sure, difficulty, it's so clever that it's easier, so now it's cathartic, and it's harder, so then you feel the tension of the story. But what about the parts of the story where it's supposed to be like 1/8 of the story, but you're spending 50% of your game time in that 1/8 of the story,
Yeah.
and then the bulk of the story's actual plot happens in like a tiny sequence of gameplay time, relatively.
Yeah.
So you have this really fucked up pacing of a bunch of shit not happening, and then everything happens all at the end, which most story games are like.
Yeah, and if you
That's not very ludonarratively cognitive or whatever, ludonarratively coherent.
yeah, I think it's a lot. Yeah, I mean, this analysis, also, the flow state thing, it makes sense as well from this perspective because you know, you want to optimize for like just getting the enhancing the story's emotions. You don't have to optimize for like the experience of dealing with a challenge.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know. Fucking very
gameplay, like I said, the gameplay is just kind of like this toy.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to
it's
movie
like
theaters
3D
and
goggles.
The seats rumble. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
rumble
like a
3D
peripheral.
Goggles. That's what gameplay is.
Yeah,
that's what gameplay is.
Yeah, it's not necessarily bad either. Like you could have that kind of like, you know, interactive movies. They're kind of gimmicky, but still, like, you know, there's some fucking unique space there of interaction, but it's very different from what we're fucking talking about. Okay, let's see.
Has he gotten to his point about difficulty? Like his overarching theme.
His overall point is that so far it's the switching difficulties is hard. You know, it creates paralysis, I think. And okay, let's see.
Seconds, so it would be more of a challenge, this sequence wouldn't be nearly as effective. Admittedly, it is unlikely that someone will change the difficulty during this section, as it isn't long enough to cause so much frustration that they feel the need to switch, but just knowing that games do this sort of thing always makes me wonder if I'm in the middle of a sequence that will soon have a big payoff, or playing on the wrong difficulty.
Sora's asking, should the story he's asking, should the story also match the difficulty of the game? I thought, should the difficulty of the story match the difficulty of the game? You know, you have like a fucking... Even though to the language, you know, they use, if it's a hard game, they gotta fucking use like fucking really high level academic language, you know.
Yeah, I know.
That's stupid or whatever. Not really a point.
My way, changing from one difficulty to the next doesn't even guarantee that it will balance things perfectly, as there are so many different aspects of a game that can affect how easy or hard it is. And in a lot of cases, changing the difficulty will shift all of them. So if you're playing an action-adventure title on medium and feel like the puzzles are the exact right amount of challenge, but the combat seems trivial, changing it to hard may address your issues with fights, but it might come at the cost of puzzles becoming frustrating. The best way to solve this problem is by making the difficulty settings of a game highly customizable. When players are able to adjust specific aspects like how aggressive enemies are, or how much time they a puzzle, or the amount of experience fight, it makes it possible for
here's a crazy idea. You balance the difficulty so all the elements are in alignment. I mean, that could be a possibility. Like, you make it so that the combat is challenging, and if you have to have your stupid puzzles, that the puzzles are, like, they match up with the combat.
Well, yeah, but that's one of the...
His suggestion is that you allow players... So if they're stupid like me and can't do puzzles, they're like on baby mode puzzles, but then they're like chads like me, so then they're on like ultra hard difficulty with baby puzzles.
yeah, just like just the fucking guy with like a tiny pea brain and massive muscle. Fucking, yeah, but it's like an inherent problem of these fucking soup games that try to do everything for everyone. And now it's like, now people are realizing, okay, I don't like everything. I only like some things, and I like them to a different extent.
It turns out I play one game because I want combat, not dumbass
it's like
puzzles.
Yeah, it's like the thing. Recently, there's been a fucking post on Twitter with like, play a game and get to that part. You know, the classic, the classic. It's like, and I'm thinking like, what does this apply to? And most of my favorite games just don't have that because they're not fucking soups. I play them to get one thing only. There's also the benefit of like having those like Ace Attorney games. You know, you sign up for a puzzle story game, you get that perfect, flawless. Why the fuck does everything need to be a soup? Jesus.
Void Stranger is like that too.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm not gonna spoil, but you know.
Okay, don't spoil it.
Yeah, people are so fucking sensitive about the Void Stranger spoilers. Dear God.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to get copyright struck.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get assassinated by the fucking System Erasure Mafia, dude. Jamer is gonna go ninja mode on you.
Jamer's gonna destroy you.
Just throw a kunai in your back real quick. Shina. Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, but like, it's like just the games are soups. The games don't know what the fuck they want. Now the players don't know what the fuck they want either. As a result of the games just being messes.
Yeah. It's so funny because like, the gamers, instead of questioning the developer as like, this is bad design, it's like, let's try to make this work. That's kind of like the gamer mentality.
Just give me the give me the Lego pieces.
You can throw in garbage puzzles, and if you just give me a difficulty selection, I'll try to make them work.
Yeah, let me change everything in the game via fucking slider.
Make it good.
Oh my God, dude. Come on. Like what? They're not paying you for this. Don't do this. They're not. They're making a game. They're taking your fucking money for you to what? Make a game? Come on. Come on. Just download fucking Game Maker Godot or something. Do that instead. You're gonna have more fun and actually make money. All right.
Player to balance the game in a way that is just right for them. At least that's how it works in theory, but I found that in practice it's much more complicated than that. I do appreciate the idea of being given full control over my experience, but more often than not, having these options quickly becomes overwhelming, because when playing a game for the first time, I have no idea what settings will lead to the optimal
He's just
experience. And frankly, I
reinforcing
probably didn't fully know on a second playthrough either. More options may give players the capability to
maybe he'll lead to something interesting here, right?
the game, but that doesn't mean they have the know-how to actually do it. Now, if there are just a few options to pick from, it probably won't be that tough to figure out what to adjust. But the fewer options there are, the more likely it'll be to run into the same issues as games that don't have any customization. When there are a wide range of options, though, it can take trial and error to figure out what works best, to see how different settings
Oh my
I want to see how this comes together. I'm genuinely curious.
Are you seeing the shit that I'm seeing on my fucking screen right now? Look at all this. God, PC game difficulty customization is insane. Well, that's the thing with PC games. They're treating more. They're designed more like sandboxes, and they have a history of that shit because they had like they always had modding scenes. They always had like hackers, hacking games, then going on to make games. It's very interesting. Choice is bad, basically. True. Holy shit. Couldn't have said it better myself.
How different settings interact with each other to augment the difficulty.
I don't know if that's what he's going to conclude. I'm genuinely curious what he's going to conclude here.
This is like a mystery puzzle,
Troubleshooting a game's difficulty in the hopes of finding the right balance isn't how they want to spend their time. They're not the game designers. They don't have a good grasp of how any small change may impact their long-term enjoyment. Also, constantly modifying various aspects of a title to see what works best can create a disjointed experience, and that might make it harder to get into or appreciate a title. At the end of the day, most people just want to play video games without having to think about it. To clarify, I'm not trying to advocate that games should never include this kind of customization. Honestly, I really do like the idea of it, and I imagine there are plenty of players out there who get a lot of value from being able to make these adjustments.
Destroy it. What's this guy's name? Rasputin, destroy it, destroy them,
dude,
kill them.
Guy, look at his sub count, dude.
I shouldn't have shown this to Mark. Oh no. Well, let's go back. Let's go back before Mark sees more of it.
Okay, yeah. Let's not look at that.
What is the view count? Oh, Mark.
Oh
no,
dude.
Shit.
Yeah, let's not even talk about that.
Yeah, let's not. Dude, look at the slider. Look at the slider. It's like a tiny little fucking. Oh my god. What fucking game is this?
I don't know.
Yeah, the joy and Mark's.
Yeah, it's RPG Maker.
Oh, yeah,
that's the game he's playing.
This is the average fucking modern game engine. That's what it's gonna be end up. That's what we're gonna end up with.
Yeah, no kidding. They're just gonna release Game Maker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's like game of the year.
The perfect dynamic difficulty selection. You can really customize your own experience.
Yeah,
there's so much depth. You can do so much. You can do so many attacks. Oh my god! All right. Yeah. It literally is like eventually, you're just gonna release a fucking game engine and call it a day.
That would be such a funny parody video.
Yeah, but then it's gonna get popular. But then it's gonna.
And I say it's the greatest game ever made, and it's Game Maker.
True. Yeah.
RPG Maker. That would be really funny. But I talk about it in all the language that they use.
Yeah.
It's so customizable. You can choose your
modular
own difficulty. Just talk like that. That'd be so funny.
Okay.
I can make things better. In general, it's kind of nice when I am not solely in charge of the decision, when the game gives some sort of feedback of what is right for me. One approach like this is when a game puts the player through some type of measurable test in order to judge their skill.
Not only that, but also forces what is right for you. But let's continue.
I ever experienced something like this with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. The intro puts the player through a typical tutorial assault course, and the recommended method is to determine how quickly they clear it. This seems like a great approach, as instead of making the player judge how
what
good
did
they
you
are,
say?
We're still not there yet.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the video. Is just like a bunch of random topics, like
I think so. It's a choose your own adventure.
Oh fuck, dude! There's the overlap. That's what you got to do to get those sub counts, dude. Get those sub counts.
It's a ludonarrative cognition or whatever. It's matching together the subject and the style of video.
Oh yes, yeah, perfect.
Into one.
Dude, that's kind of creative. Unfortunately, it wasn't intended, but yeah, if that was like intended, like Matthew Matos's micro videos, right? That shit, because that is intended. It's kind of like, okay, that's good. That's a fun format for random thoughts. It's like I understand, but this is presented as an essay. Where's the arguments, dude? Or where's the thesis and then where's the argument? Okay, but let's go.
Who needs them?
Yeah, whatever.
Who needs them?
itself takes a sample of their gameplay and tells them how prepared they will be for the challenges in store. Of course, while this is an intriguing approach, it doesn't mean that it comes with no issues or uncertainties. For instance, judging someone on how good they are at a game when they're first getting the hang of it isn't the best sample of their actual skill. If a player runs through the course once while still figuring out the basics and doesn't give it another try, there's a chance that
he makes Matthew look really focused.
Yeah, but that's okay. See again with this whole thing, like judging how skilled the player is. Should you judge that, or should you judge how good they're gonna get?
No.
Yeah, but you can't.
No,
you can't develop.
You shouldn't do any of that. The players should decide for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like they'll
if
fucking.
they're willing to play or not.
Yeah, like there's so much of fucking modern game design. It's like, oh, sweetie, well, let me make sure that you don't want to get too
it's
overwhelmed.
very insecure. That's what it is. It's like insecure game design. It'd be like if you're dating a girl and you're like, oh, do you want this or do you want that? Oh, do you want me to be this way? What do you want? Like, you tell me. You just message a girl, tell me who you want me to be.
Yeah. Yeah, help me become the right man for you, honey. But stream of consciousness rants can't be essays that might explain my grades in English. All right.
I don't know. I think a stream of consciousness rant might be a more.
It could be cool. Yeah, like just fucking.
Because here's the thing. Like if he was just ranting and going hard, I wouldn't really mind it. But what he does is he takes 2 steps forward and then he kind of like steps back. So he's just kind of like walking back and
it's
forth.
like a stasis.
He'll make a critique and then he'll be like, "But I don't really mean that."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then he'll make a critique and then he'll be like, "No, but I don't really mean that."
It's like, come on, Raz, just kill them, behead them, behead the developers.
If he spent 30 minutes just ranting and going in and just saying whatever he wanted to say, I wouldn't mind. But what I don't like is what they do with video essays is they kind of just bring up points and then walk them back. So it's like Last of Us hard mode sucks. But it's really not.
But it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It shouldn't. I'm not.
This is what he does. This is the whole video so far. Is he he suggests something,
video.
And then he's like, "But I don't really mean that."
Yeah.
I suggest this, but I don't really mean that. And maybe that's the key to getting like multi.
Well, yeah, because you're not pissing anyone off. You're kind of.
No one's mad because everyone's like, "Oh,
he didn't mean that." Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a way to kind of preemptively avoid criticism and pissing people off because oh my god, he said The Last of Us is bad. Let me show you this amazing grounded run where the players like optimize. Come on, dude, just fucking deal with the. Well, I don't know. He shouldn't take advice from us. To be honest, he's fucking making bank. He's gonna retire early or some shit. I don't know.
I know. We're being hipsters.
Yeah,
that's the whole point of my channel. My whole channel is being a fucking hipster.
Yeah, we're the stupid ones here, after all.
We are the stupid ones. I openly
realistically, yeah. All right. Okay.
Difficulty. On the other hand, if a player does what I did the first time I played COD 4 and stubbornly grind the course over and over again until they practically memorized it and can do it fast enough to be recommended veteran, then they will almost certainly be setting themselves up for failure. As doing that doesn't actually make them good. It just makes them
You're learning the mechanics. What?
You just demonstrated your skill at learning the game.
Yeah, what?
What do you mean?
What? Literally, like I've learned this stretch of a level by learning the mechanics and using them effectively. What do you mean setting you up for failure? What the fuck are you talking about? What?
It's like game design is working.
Yeah, literally the exact thing you fucking want to test for, right? God damn it! All right.
That's funny.
Okay,
I wonder what he's gonna say.
Yeah, let's see how he'll justify it, if he will.
Doesn't actually make them good at the game. It just makes them good at that very specific challenge. The tutorial does.
Okay, but
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, it shows that you can overcome
the mechanics of the game.
What is it like? A completely unrelated. Well, maybe it is. Maybe with modern game design, you could get good at a single puzzle, and then nothing else connects.
Puzzle game.
Yeah, but
he's really good at the shooting section, and then he's stuck on the puzzle game.
But here he's talking about a fucking FPS game. What could it be doing that's not transferable to other challenges? What the fuck is he saying? Okay.
I don't know. It's pretty funny.
I don't know.
Position themselves, but it doesn't account for other important aspects like their decision making or ability to avoid taking damage. It is just one small piece of what makes a player good at the game. And this sort of approach becomes even more questionable when looking at titles that don't.
This is more interesting, right? Because he's saying, okay, so basically what he's saying, what we can extrapolate from what he's saying is test every aspect of the game in the tutorial.
Test
everything.
Basically, have the tutorial be
the Ninja Gaiden 2. Yeah, the Ninja Gaiden 2 first screen. That's the tutorial. just
The tutorial is like high ranked deathmatch. That's the tutorial.
Well, yeah, well, just
That way you can know if you'll lose in a high ranked deathmatch.
Yeah, but still, if you get fucking good at shooting, you're gonna transfer that shit, and it's not like you show that you can learn. You show that you can like memorize spawn positions. Even if you don't know how to avoid damage, you're gonna fucking learn that because you learn the
It
rest.
also shows you're willing to practice and get better. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah,
I
like
mean, what else are you gonna have the tutorial do?
yeah, but yeah, like this is a good argument for more challenging, basically tutorials, really. The test everything. Okay.
Rely on precision or quick reflexes in the way that shooters do. Take The Witcher 2 Enhanced Edition, which came out a little
fucking
under
Witcher,
a year after the
dude.
base game.
God,
What are you talking about?
Dude, I fucking hate Witcher 2. God, it's such a fucking shitty combat system. God damn it.
He just dropped that whole
you know
point,
what the Witcher 2 combat is, Mark? You know what it is? It's
dodge rolls? I don't know.
It's Arcade Turtles in Time Part 2
jump kicks.
No, because it has randomized attacks, randomized combos, randomized strings with different properties. Notes lurking. Sorry if this comes off as rude, but will a VOD of the stream be available to watch after the stream is over? Yeah, I'll make a playlist with these specifically because otherwise wouldn't want to waste the celebrity appearance of MarkMSX.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna get fucking. This guy's gonna shoot me.
Yeah, okay. Right. Yeah. It has.
I'm gonna get.
It has randomized attacks, and a lot of the game is literally about bypassing, engaging with the normal strings and shit. So you use spells and try to fucking rely on very specific attacks. It's just ass.
Added a tutorial
forget the whole COD point.
Huh?
Whatever we were talking about with Call of Duty and tutorials, forget it. Next.
Okay. Yeah, the next topic.
Enemies and monsters. At the end of it, the player is put up against a handful of foes that get increasingly more powerful, and the more enemies they are able to kill, the higher the recommended difficulty will be. However, the arena is not really representative of how players will normally approach combat, as it mostly ignores the whole preparation aspect of the game. Also, the tutorial has no way of assessing the way in which the player kills or dies to the various enemies, which can lead to a bad recommendation. Generally, a player with a fair bit of skill is more likely to take risks, and even though they may have a grasp of the combat, as they are playing more aggressively, there is a higher chance of them making a small mistake that costs them their life. Whereas someone with less skill who plays as cautiously as possible could theoretically take out each of the enemies if they have enough patience. And due to how The Witcher 2 recommends difficulty, both players would be given settings that don't make sense for them. This could have a ton of consequences. One of the most notable being that it might condition the less skilled player to approach every encounter as conservatively as possible, which isn't how the game was really designed to be played. Of course, all these titles do still give players.
Wait, what did you just say? Wait, what the fuck?
He's saying the same thing twice. He's saying
he made something about how the combat in Witcher 2 works, which I think is inaccurate. Let's say.
No, he says it's about the preparation, like
okay, hold on.
menuing.
Okay, well, but wait, 1 sec.
Consequences. One of the most notable being that it might condition the less skilled player to approach every encounter as conservatively as possible, which isn't how the game was really designed to be played.
Resource-wise, yeah, he's right. But in terms of combat, the game won't fucking stop you. It's not going to be fun, but that's the problem with the fucking game. That's a good argument for timers, right?
Yeah. He even mentioned that you could just stall out the tutorial.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Like, you're going to learn how to play defensively and then ruin the game for yourself, basically.
But you can do that in the regular game too, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The regular game doesn't
as soon
have
as
timers.
it's not like it's a tutorial problem. It's literally like you fight some enemies out on the field. They become too hard for you, and you'll just try a passive playstyle. Be like, oh, the game can't really do anything about this. It can't shut it down. So And when he's saying it's not how it's designed to be played, he's not saying that like the game will annihilate you when you do this. He's saying that it's just not fun.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of these style of video essays, so like I'm just gonna be an asshole on a lot of these. Warn the chat because I really don't like this style of content because it frustrates me. That's why. Because I'm like, it gets me all excited. And then it's just
the topic is so interesting.
Difficulty is weird. I get all excited, and then it just kind of, it just kind of goes back and forth.
All right, Mark. That's why I want to watch the second one. Let's put this on hold and maybe turn because I feel like the second one will be a lot better.
Okay, yeah. Let's jump to the second one because
this
is going to be just
I previewed it a little bit and it seemed a lot more focused. Okay, let's see. This is gonna like. Because, this is an interesting topic that is genuinely puzzling. All right.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Expression. It's a talking point as old as the modern FGC itself at this point. And I'm not here to try to explain it away or define it or anything like that. I want to talk about where the problems lay with this talking point. The same way problems do with most of these Twitter prompts that show up every few months.
Yeah?
He got the thesis out in 20 seconds.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
20 seconds.
Oh,
he
yeah.
explained the thesis. See, now I see. It's good we got a contrast here. So
Yeah.
we got a guy who I'm quite sure 15 minutes in did not state his thesis.
He has less subs than
This
you,
dude-
by the way. Yeah, less
This
subs.
dude nailed it in 20 seconds.
Q Manchu, yeah,
Okay.
less subs than you.
That's fine. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I'm not. I'm accepting all these guys are gonna have way more subs than me.
No, he has less subs than you.
Amazing.
Yeah, so this video essay, you know,
A rare breed.
it is
a
what
rare
it is.
breed.
Yeah, literally, like Hyperfist made a good point here because you know he's like using all these mainstream games and switching between examples like nonstop just to cast the widest net possible.
Yeah.
So
I
everyone's
think
like-
maybe that guy. I think there's like a meta that guy is engaging in
Yeah, I
that
don't
I'm
know.
refusing to want to like value. But what he's doing is like he's just like exactly what you're saying. He's covering. He's
Hyperfist.
Everyone is included.
Yeah,
in this,
yeah,
in
like
that
he,
essay.
yeah, you know, like he has some points he wants to make, but he has to also just like please everyone and not piss them off.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
And it's like
exactly.
it's like a fucking
So he-
struggle to squeeze in
in
some.
a way, he's better than Matthew Matosis at that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he's optimized that fucking shit, and it's like
he's optimized. it.
yeah, Matthew got a head start, but this guy like fucking scientifically engineered the perfect, the most centrist
yeah.
video on the planet. You know, the most fucking
Yes, exactly.
yeah, Fence
Yeah.
City.
So shout out to him for that. He's impressed with that.
Yeah, he the
This guy though,
the student.
this guy though is more my style.
Yeah, this guy
because
is
he
like fucking
nailed that
getting
thesis
into
in
this
20
shit.
Seconds.
Yeah, fucking yeah.
Okay, let's go.
I just want to say, you don't actually care about player expression in
Oh.
fighting games. There's no problem with player expression. There's
Oh.
no actual outrage over player choice in fighting games.
And there is no Queen of England.
It's really that simple. And realistically, that's fine. Here's what I mean. The definition most people have agreed on over the last few years is this. If I can recognize who's playing and there's no tag, the game has great player expression. And to an extent, this is actually
Oh, I
correct.
know.
But it's also
Yeah.
not the full encompassing
I've heard
statement
that.
people think that it is. If this was
really
all
heard
that it
people
was,
say
then a
that
player's
all the
costume
time.
choice would play into this, wouldn't it? I know that Mena RD is the only person on
Exactly.
the planet with this specifically
yeah.
designed costume in Street Fighter V, so if I remove his tag, there's literally no doubt in my mind that I'm watching him play on stage. By the
That's such a
definition
good
I
point.
listed,
Pause
Street
that.
Fighter V must
Yeah,
have
yeah.
That's something I've always talked about when people talk about player expression and stuff like that. Is like, well, what about the aesthetics? Because people always forget about, like, for example, I will not play ugly characters, even if they're top tier. If the character is ugly, I refuse to play them. That has to factor into my player expression to some degree, right? Because there's literally characters I will not play, no matter what their gameplay is, because they're ugly. That's player expression, right?
It is, yeah. Well, that's the core problem. People don't
He's
know.
getting at the. It's such a bullshit term. Yeah.
Yeah, there's such a vague term. 'Cause if you're, the thing I say,
Player
if-
expression. You pick up the freaking controller. It's player
Yeah,
expression.
the thing-
Like, what?
the
There's
thing-
no non-player expression.
yeah, the thing I want to say is just like, is fucking Minecraft the ultimate player expression game? Is that like the fucking
RPG Maker is the ultimate.
yeah? There's
player
something
expression.
else that people are talking about. It's something like a concept, like signifiers that result from depth and
Well, I think it's mechanical versatility is what they're trying to get at.
which what you mean depth, right?
No, mechanical versatility in that a move can do multiple things validly.
Well,
like,
that is-
and be good at multiple.
Okay,
things.
so like
I think that's really what it is.
Yeah, or
Because
or
if you have like, for example, if you have a character like in Virtua Fighter 5 Vanessa, she's got two different stances and you can mix together the stances in different ways, and so you're able to play Vanessa in all these different ways mechanically. That's what people think is player expression.
Yeah, or
because,
it
like
has-
one guys will use defensive stance 70% of the time. The other guy will use offensive stance 77% of the time. And because the game is well made with the mechanics, you can kind of do that and have it make sense. I think that's what they're getting at.
Well, yeah, and I also think it's like how many skills does the game test and to which extent? Because if it tests everything, then players will naturally become better at different facets of the game.
That's true.
Yeah, in Quake, some people have amazing aim. Some people have like really good prediction. They know where the opponent is going to be. Some people have really good like a sense for all the spawns and shit, all the item spawns. Some people have
Yeah.
some people specialize in different weapons. Some people are really more better with the rail. Some people are really good with tracking with the lightning gun. Some people are good at everything. But fucking yeah, you see that if games
In
have a lot
fighting
of
games, a really obvious example of this. I wonder if he'll bring it up. He's missing it if he doesn't, because it's such an obvious example. Is the whole like execution thing where there's certain players who specialize in being really good at hitting links and motion inputs and stuff like that. And as fighting games have removed those aspects, it's
there's less,
indirectly nerfed those players.
Yeah, there's less
specializations.
Yeah, there's less paths to take as a player for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic player expression, as it's the only fighting game I know to have something like that. But no, obviously that's not what people mean, is it? What we're actually looking for is a definition that's a bit more concise and definitely focused on the gameplay. So for this one, we're gonna have to dig just a little bit deeper.
What are you doing? Digging. Why? Make a hole. A hole for what? More digging. Okay then.
In a paper about creating games to bolster learning written by Kurt Squire, a difficult question arose. How do you create spaces that ultimately exist for people
You know
to
what
do
he kind of reminds me of?
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of Corey Gaming, don't you think?
Oh yeah,
Like
I think
his
he's.
style
Yeah, I
and
think he's. I think.
He's got a very
Well, I think a
Corey
lot of
Gaming
these
style.
fighting game channels are mainly inspired by Corey Gaming because those are.
Yeah, he's like a Matthew Matosis of fighting game essays, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Corey Gaming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see.
Anyway, I just noticed that.
Well, yeah,
With, like,
and just like Matthew
with
Matosis.
his editing style.
Yeah,
too,
even
where
the choice
Corey
of music.
Gaming would always have like
Yeah, the
he'd always
diagrams
begin
and
a
shit.
section- well, he'd always begin a section talking about like philosophy or psychology or
Yeah.
something.
And you know what?
Every time.
And you know what that reminds me of Corey Gaming's editing style of every frame of painting. Do you know that channel?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I feel like they watched those videos and were inspired by those videos because like the style is very similar, it's all just in a different medium. But yeah, this is they're gonna bring up fucking Kant, you know,
Yeah, we're gonna get to some psychology.
Yeah, Hegel in his Phenomenology of Spirit said, you know, the fucking. All right.
It's the difficulties of choreographing the rules, representations, and roles for players. In other words, the contexts in which players can generate meaning. There's more to this that I'll get into later in the
That's
video,
too
but I want to break down
fucking
this part
complicated,
first.
dude. Break it down.
No. I can't believe
I thought you started screaming for a second. Holy shit.
No,
Yeah,
I don't sound that much
was,
like a girl,
Well, you know.
Mister.
Well, I haven't heard
deep
you.
voice.
I haven't. I haven't heard you scream after you saw a spider. You know, and he's like, ah. Okay, let's
I
go.
can sound like a girl sometimes, but we won't talk about that.
I can't believe he did it again. He did it again.
Squire mentions that good games are vehicles for player expression, and in my opinion, fighting games mostly tackle or try to tackle this overarching question of allowing players to generate meaning more than most other genres. Meaning in situations is how we get our Evo Moment 37s. It's why Rank 2 becoming a world champion inspired thousands to try and do the same, and it's what gives us these kinds of callouts.
Everyone's yelling. It's so hype.
He should have done the R-wing clip. That clip.
We know these players aren't just
The R-wing
mashing,
clip's
we know
way
that they
better.
know the
There's a clip of Mango throwing a guy up in the air, and he's calling him out, and he lands on the R-wing and blows him up.
Hell yeah.
That's way cooler than just reading a roll. All he did there was read a roll, but the R-wing, he should have done the R-wing clip.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big criticism of the video so far, huh? Okay.
Well, he's kind of.
They're doing.
He's kind of. I'm losing track of what he's saying.
Well, yeah,
a little bit.
it's too. That's the problem. It's too fucking complicated if you bring up the academic definitions. Even
Yes,
if,
I know.
even if I'm familiar with them, I have to be like, wait, what? How did? Okay, just I hope he
It's-
simplifies. He's probably
Yeah.
going to simplify, right? We'll see.
And sometimes we can't believe the answers they come to. But what I think is happening is that we're conflating player expression simply with the number of options we have to interact with. Modern
Yeah,
fighting
that's right.
games
There
have
you
taken
go.
tons of criticism for this mix-up between the number of options and the meaning of said options.
It seems to make sense at a glance, where it's like, if a character has a ton of tools, then players have more options to use, which means it will be easier to tell the difference between players. But that's not always necessarily true.
The reason some decisions or options may seem non-consequential or stale is likely because of loss aversion. Loss aversion is the idea that when people are met with an opportunity to make as much as they could lose, the fear of loss outweighs the potential gains by twice as much.
I want you to consider this bet. Here's $10. This could be yours. If I put this coin in the air...
Wait,
you
why
guys
does he
call it-
talk? I think
He
he's.
lost. He nailed.
Yeah, the intro, and now he's
And
fucking.
then he just dropped it.
I think he's saying
he's
that.
like player expression is actually about the amount of viable options in the combat, which is I agree with. And then he's just like, okay, we're done. Next point. Like, he
Okay,
just
well
moved on.
let's watch this because I'm not sure how the fuck loss aversion connects to this because I feel like he's
Yeah,
is he saying
exactly.
that I think he's saying that if you have like two options and one of them is slightly worse, but you know,
I don't know where he's going here.
very slightly worse, you're always going to gravitate to the best option, you know, because the slight risk is gonna be amplified in your mind. I don't know. Let's see.
But how is that loss aversion?
I don't fucking know. It's like just
Okay, let's just
just like going for the least risky option, right? I don't know. Let's see.
In the air. If you're right, I give you the $10. If you're wrong, you give me $10. I saw that conversation.
Oh, I was right about the psychology thing,
That's
though.
not a
Oh,
good
yeah.
for me.
People have
Bringing
complained
in
about the way Street Fighter
psychology
6
stuff, I
feels
told you.
compared to Street Fighter 5, or how Guilty Gear Strive compares to the games that came before. But what's really happening is mostly that some of the options we were used to just get switched for others. It's easy to dogpile on modern fighting games for removing options from players, but realistically, I think I see the opposite happening. A great example is the execution of Street Fighter 4. It was revered, and people hold that
Okay,
game to an
he's saying
incredibly
that
high
it's
standard.
not the amount of options.
Okay, yeah, let's
Yeah.
see where
Okay.
he's
So
going.
he's saying
He's
that like
losing me. You're losing me.
yeah. Okay. He's saying that there's no modern games don't have less options. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not as big in fighting games as you are, but I think he's saying that modern games don't necessarily have less options. The important point is something else. So let's see what he builds up to.
Since it had tight links, precise special inputs, and as long as you practice, you could be really good once you got the hit. And that's awesome. Being able to put tons of time into your execution is certainly one form of player expression, and some players choose to express themselves that way in games that don't even have high execution barriers. But the thing about Street Fighter 4 was that it was very easy to loop offense into what was called vortexes. Essentially, once you got knocked down, it was time to guess, and if you got hit again, you'd be forced to guess once more until you maybe get it right.
He's
Oh.
getting
Offensive
lost in the sauce, don't you think?
Yeah, he's
He's
like,
kind of
yeah,
getting
yeah,
lost in
it's
his
a bit.
point. I don't know where he's going.
Yeah, no. Well, you should be able to
So now
tell
he's
better
talking
than.
about vortexing.
Yeah, he's talking about snowballing. Yeah, the concept.
Vortexing.
Yeah.
Vortexing. For one, they removed it. I think he forgot that. They removed it in Ultra Street Fighter 4. They removed vortexing because they were like.
But why did he
okay,
bring it up? Is what I'm.
I don't know.
Hold on, let's rewatch it just in case, because I'm kind of curious.
Is he saying modern games?
Okay,
I can only guess
hold
that
on.
He's saying modern fighting games are have more player expression because they don't have vortexes.
Oh, but yeah, but maybe he's saying that they like reset the advantages more. I don't know. Let's see.
And that's awesome. Being able to put tons of time into your execution is certainly one form of player expression, and some players choose to express themselves that way in games that don't even have high execution barriers. But the thing about Street Fighter 4 was that it was very easy to loop offense into what was called vortexes. Essentially, once you got knocked down, it was time to
Until
guess, and if
Ultra.
you got hit
So
again...
that dominates.
They got rid of
He's saying that maybe
It
that.
used to. It used to, and they got rid of it in Ultra.
Okay, so it removes player expression because of the dominant mechanic is what I think he's trying to say.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
That's true.
Okay. Let's go. This is like
But
requiring
what
brain
does that
activity.
Have to do with what's that have to do with loss aversion? That's where I'm like, what?
Well, they're gravitating towards the less less expressive but the more dominant strat, because it's so much more effective, and they don't want to lose anything, right? They're very risk averse.
Yeah, I guess.
I think that's the idea. But dude, it's such a complicated way of saying that. Holy shit! Okay, let's see. I have to pay attention to this shit. Like, you know, you would think that these would be simple concepts, but I have to like fucking sit and listen. God forbid.
I'm not to be again. This is going to reveal how much of a hipster I am, but like, I almost feel like he's bringing up loss aversion more because
Aesthetics.
because it's like adding some like academic.
Well, yeah,
weight
that's what I'm saying.
to
Like
what he's
the
trying to say.
aesthetics of academic cred, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Rather than it actually kind of making sense.
Yeah, you
Fully.
want to do the fucking opposite and simplify that fucking bullshit. Yeah, you read a book on game design, they like bring up all that proprietary terminology, and you're like, oh fuck, you got to like simplify it for a video, because otherwise it's a fucking nightmare to navigate. All right,
I just don't
And
know if
you'd
it
be
fully
forced to get-
connects.
yeah, let's see if it.
And then as a hipster, I just get stuck on that.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's not
overlooking
get
it.
distracted. Let's not get focused on the you know the fucking academic stuff. Let's just see where he goes with this.
Guess once more until you maybe get it right. These offensive feedback loops would remove certain options from you as well, like the ability to reversal or change the timing of your wake-ups to at least keep your
Akuma.
attacker on their toes.
Man, I loved vortexing people with Akuma.
So in this case, on one hand, there's tons
I
of
did that
players.
all day.
I receive. Yeah, buddy, this is some fucking good ass snowballing, baby. Yeah, this is action games are competitive in a nutshell. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, why did I even make that vid? Should just copy pasted this shit and be like, okay, just design games like this. Okay.
expression. But on the other, that second player literally doesn't get to play. No matter who Tokido was vortexing, you'd never be able to guess who it was because they didn't get to do anything.
Oh, drops it.
Yeah.
Wow, he
I
landed on
agree.
top, and
I
Chris
agree.
is not looking great.
I feel like he could have
I
made.
don't know what.
I feel
I don't know what it has to do with loss aversion. I agree with this point, though.
Well, yeah, but he could just make that point in like 2 fucking seconds. It's like if there's options that exist that are dominant, that overwhelm everything else, then you have no
destroy-
room for player expression because it's too risky. Because you'll get
creates
shut.
the-
You'll get the shut the
What
fuck
would you say,
down.
the illusion of options,
Yeah.
right? The illusion of.
You have Tekken strings are another good option. No one fucking uses them because they're fucking shit.
10 hits?
Everyone can everyone can immediately punish them. Yeah, everyone knows how to fucking punish them. So it's like you could express yourself with the hits, but you won't because too risky. All right, loss aversion doesn't really make sense. It does as a concept, right? It doesn't. Can't you practice? But you can practice, but like in a real match, you're not trying to fucking do your players gravitate towards like the path of least resistance, right? That's the main thing. If something works,
But the point is, like with the 10-hit combos, you literally can't do them because
Yeah.
they're balanced in a way that once you understand,
I understand
them,
you can punish.
They're,
Every
they're
single time.
instantly defeatable.
Yeah.
Always and consistently. So there's no future with them. There's nowhere to go with them.
Yeah, so I guess you could practice like really fucking shitty moves and just get so good at them, like low tier characters and stuff. Like fucking low tier god. Not that guy though. Just the concept of a low tier god. But
But how well do these guys do? In competitive play?
the problem is like it's about incentives. Whether the games actually incentivize you to express yourself through the systems, or if they make it as hard as fucking possible to express yourself. But then again, like, what value does player expression have if it's not hard or easy to like focus on what you want to focus on, right? Like imagine a game with like a million redundant combos, and you can like swap between them whenever you want, right? What value would that have? That would be like costumes, basically. It wouldn't have any.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like learning a low tier character and getting really good at them, because that's like you can own the player expression there. It doesn't feel like it's just like a superfluous aspect. You worked for it, you owned it. It's part of you as an individual. It's not like some fucking new clothes you bought or something. Hi, 1cc Warrior. Mark?
All right, I'm genuinely curious where he's going to go with
Yeah,
this.
let's see. Let's see.
Now, if I'm arguing that vortexes were bad for player expression, then what would be an example of something that's good for players on defense to express themselves? What I've noticed is that active defense is a fantastic way for players to express themselves even when they're not on the offensive. But sometimes these decisions of active defense are made to seem scrubby, or they can be used to call the other player random.
I'm not.
Who does that?
Street Fighter 6 actually has an incredible amount of player expression on both defense and offense that really doesn't get talked about enough. At Gamers 8, we got to watch Kakeru demolish Angry Bird, who had just won the most stacked fighting game tournament of possibly all time, using almost nothing but defensive mechanics. Sure, low forward drive rush can dominate the game, but that's just scratching the surface of what this game has to offer if we can just look past the idea of scrubby active defense. Even in Street Fighter 5, I was forced to get creative and weigh
Who
my
says
options
it's
against what they
scrubby?
meant to me, and use all
I don't know. It's some fucking Twitter people, as usual.
Probably.
Whenever you hear a
Yeah.
stupid
He's
fighting
talking
game,
to Twitter.
Yeah, whenever you
Yeah, he's
hear a
talking to
stupid
Twitter.
fighting game opinion, it's like, oh, where did this come from? Oh, a fucking Twitter post every single time.
Yeah,
It's-
this motherfucker, he like parried me. He parried all my moves. What a scrub.
Yeah. What a noob, dude.
Oh, what a noob, dude, parrying everything.
Yeah, what a fucking shitter. Yeah, Jesus, you should like try to. It's like a fucking low tier god or a Dark Side Phil video. Them fighting. Look, this guy's spamming the same move. Oh my god, dude, ha! Fucking Jesus.
This dude's breaking all my throws. What a scrub.
Yeah, what a screw. This guy has me downloaded. What a fucking noob. He sucks at the game. All right.
Okay, let's finish this.
that information to formulate my own playstyle that nobody could replicate even if they wanted to. Overall, we're not losing our ability to express ourselves, but we are being forced to adapt to an entirely different medium as fighting games progress. It's easy to focus on the options that we lose, but try and see the options that you've gained as well. Actually, funnily enough, there's one thing we've gained that laughably helps illustrate this point.
Okay, I'm kind of lost. I don't. Maybe it's because I'm not.
I think he's dropped it, but he talked about basically. Oh my god. Okay, he had it for a second there. He was talking about how you should have active defense for player expression.
I get that, but like, what is his general point that the new games haven't lost these options? Is he trying to say like, okay?
He's talking strictly from Street Fighter.
Well, what I'm wondering, right? The point, the thesis is you don't care about player expression, but what he's talking about now is that, oh no, don't worry, dude, we have player expression. Don't worry about it. You know, like you don't complain about it or something. I don't get how this connects to the main argument of the video.
I don't know. Let's go.
I don't know. I mean, this works as like an example of some ways to increase player expression, but he's still not telling why we don't care about it or what it is even.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. All right. Let's
Operation Phalanx, or Fast Assault Lashing at Neutral Exchanges,
What the fuck?
is a small conspiracy that I've come up with perpetrated by pretty much
What the
every
fuck
modern
is
fighting
happening?
game on the market. A big reason I wanted to make this video was because at first...
We're getting like the fucking somebody I used to know edit like do 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 fucking like with the Egyptian fucking.
This is interesting. This is his own concept.
Yeah,
So
let's see. Let's see. You're a big fan of that shit. Coming up.
Let's see what he's got to say.
Let's see the phalanx.
I like this way more than bringing up loss aversion or whatever.
You fucking come up with your own shit. It's cool. Even if
Your own
it's
shit. Let's see
even
what
if
he's
it's
got to say.
redundant, you know, it's cool. It's cool. That's some fucking video essayist expression. There you go.
If we were losing ways to express ourselves. If I wanted to play good and honest footsies, I was supposed to go to Street Fighter. If I wanted crisp movement and matchups to study for years, I'm supposed to go to Tekken. And if I want cursed mix-up with inconceivably unfair characters, I'd go to
No
Virtua
Virtua Fighter.
But as of recording, this time in 2023, all three...
Mark, no one gives a shit about Richard Fighter.
It's like, you want crisp matchups and movements. Oh, Tekken.
Yeah, Mark just fucking screaming from outside the window. Virtua Fighter.
What about Virtua Fighter, dude?
Yeah,
it
like
has
a
like all
fucking-
of them together at once. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
I
just
feel- well,
I just
one of
thought
the
it
big
was funny
problems
for
for me
Virtua
is-
Fighter.
Yeah, one of the big problems for me is that I'm not as familiar with fighting games, so I can't I feel like I could contribute more if I was more familiar. I should fucking start playing them more. I should fucking just start playing fighting games more. I should be more into them. That's like it doesn't make sense that I don't play them more. All right.
Those games have forward-advancing, armored, or invincible guard-breaking techniques as universal game mechanics. Street Fighter 6 has Drive Impact, Guilty Gear has Wild Assault, and Tekken 8 has Heat, which enhances certain moves. And the crazy part is, it's not even just these games. The latest King of Fighters has them in Shadow Strikes, and even Grand Blue Fantasy got
Is he
them in
gonna
Rising.
accidentally
So
make
if
a
every
point?
major fighting game release
Pause it.
has this happening, we have to ask ourselves,
Huh?
I wonder if he's gonna accidentally make the point that all fighting games are becoming homogenized.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's where he's going because he's
You think
talking
he's
about
going there? Or do you think he's accidentally going
I
there?
think he's going there intentionally because he's talking about how this is his conspiracy.
same.
This is his term.
They're all the same.
The conspiracy of the matting universal. I don't know. Let's see.
why? When I started researching for this video, I thought genuinely that this was it for the idea of pure and honest footsies. As seen in Street Fighter 6, Drive Impact has without a doubt changed the value of pokes in a neutral setting. But what if I told you that I think that's what Capcom wants?
Just fireball and drive rush, fireball, drive rush, fireball, drive rush, fireball, drive rush. Sweep, 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 sweep. With every regular button they press. But it doesn't really matter because they could just do fireball and then drive rush, sway.
If you want to play honest footsies, or you want to get into a good fireball war, by all means, you can. Games that boast that type of gameplay are easier to play now than ever, and new ones are still being made. But to say that Street Fighter has always been...
What?
Yeah, if you wanna do a fireball footsies heavy game, you can do it. You just get in a time machine.
Yeah.
You go back in time.
Okay. Let's see.
That's all you gotta do.
one thing is a weird thing to say, as it truly
Play
hasn't. Each one
this
is more
game.
different from its
Yeah,
previous.
play that game with its very active player base.
Yeah. This is even more. This is a fucking peak.
Oh yeah.
previous iteration than the last, and we have every reason to believe that trend is going to continue. Fighting games of modern times want us to be able to express ourselves, even when we're pressed on the back foot.
What?
Watch it.
Oh my god, the block! Stop! Completely!
The way we express ourselves is changing in this new era of fighting games, and I, for one, think that's
Wait,
a good
I got-
thing. No need to stick with...
That's it.
Why
Why is he showing DBZ Fighters? Because that's a game that goes against his point.
Well, okay, but
DBZ
maybe he's
Fighters-
fudging it. Maybe he's just like this is like B-roll footage, right? But what I'm wondering, I lost this fucking train of thought. Why is it so hard to fucking follow? It might be just because I don't play enough fighting games. But like, what is he trying to say? Can you explain it to me?
Yeah, he's saying that player expression isn't gone. Modern fighting games are more expressive than older fighting games because
But they're in the-
back in the day, they're less expressive because you had to do more of the OP options like throw fireballs and do uppercuts. But now you can do drive rushes and all of this defense. And he's saying that modern games are more expressive than older games.
So he is saying that. Okay.
He's saying that, but he's not acknowledging that they're becoming homogenized.
Let's see. Maybe he will acknowledge that.
But he also showed B-roll of DBZ Fighters, just a game that goes completely against this point because all you do in that game is hold block. Yeah. There's no like
there's no proper
interaction.
Active defense.
You just hold block and wait for them.
I mean, active defense is a good
and hold block for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like just talking about active defense, it would, just going more in depth on what's possible with that would have been more interesting if instead of
could have pointed out Virtua Fighter with all this
no one is gonna fucking point out Virtua Fighter, dude. You're the only person that can make videos on Virtua Fighter nowadays. I'm sorry, I'm afraid. All right.
Traditional acrylic paints when we have flashy watercolors right here. It's okay to express ourselves through different mediums and on different canvases. We're here to enjoy fighting games and process all the information.
I don't know. It's just like the writing.
I don't know what he's talking about either. Just let him roll.
Yeah,
you got to get to the end. I think he's just kind of
let him cook.
I think I know what he's doing. He's cooking right now.
Yeah,
he's just got a lot to say, and he's saying.
And situations put forth by them. That's what developers hope for us to experience.
Fighting game is something so great.
This really is like core A gaming.
A fantastic example of how ridiculous this argument is if I were to compare fighting games to another pastime, like surfing. Surfing is a sport with origins that date way back, like at least 700 years.
I feel like such a fucking idiot watching this video.
States, some surfer bros decided that surfing in the water wasn't enough, and they became the first asphalt surfers.
He's video
this new mode of transportation gained traction, and people started doing all sorts of new tricks that nobody had seen before, since they wouldn't work on surfboards. But if this was the FTC, the response would be to say that skateboarding is cool and all, but it's just you pumping on the board, and there's no interactions with the ocean waves, which means there's no actual skater expression.
I don't think that counts as footsies, and I would know. I've been playing Luke since third grade.
And such a statement really doesn't need much explanation.
Biden's going fucking hard. What the fuck?
Joe Biden.
Someone fucking revived him. Someone fucking electrocuted him. Jesus. All right.
That was from 20 years ago.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
One of the most freeform manners of physical expression.
I don't fucking know, dude. He is cooking something. I don't know what in the fucking world he's doing. But let's see.
Is, and it continues to evolve to this day despite being a separate and new experience from surfing, which is where it came from in the beginning. All of this is to say, as our games evolve, so too do our means of expression, and that's important to remember when we get a new game that feels completely different than the one that came before. As games evolve, we also see changes in the way people learn them. In the same quote from Squire, he begins to outline an issue that comes from how players interpret the information presented.
But what was the conspiracy?
That's like...
But what was the conspiracy? Okay, let me wind backwards a little bit and see what he's saying, what he tries to say with the conspiracy thing.
At neutral exchanges is a small conspiracy.
1 sec.
Operation Phalanx, or fast assault lashing at neutral exchanges, is a small conspiracy that I've come up with perpetrated by pretty much every modern fighting game on the market. A big reason I wanted to make this video was because at first I did think we were losing ways to express ourselves. If I wanted to play good and honest footsies, I was supposed to go to Street Fighter. If I wanted crisp movement and matchups to study for years, I'm supposed to go to Tekken. And if I want cursed mix-ups with inconceivably unfair characters, I go to Guilty Gear. But as of recording, this time in 2023, all three of those games have forward-advancing, armored, or invincible guard-breaking techniques as universal game mechanics.
His point literally is then like so these games have more ways of player expression, but is he not gonna talk about why players feel, why he felt like there was no there wasn't player expression? Is he not gonna address that? Because I don't get I'm not getting what the fucking train of thought is like.
I think he's saying, don't worry. I think he's like, in a roundabout way, he's saying, don't worry about it because all fighting games are going to be the same. All that shit that you want that's in Tekken, it's going to be in Street Fighter. And all the shit you want in Street Fighter, it's going to be in Guilty Gear. And we're all going to be able to express ourselves because all the games will become one game.
This is like the fighting game equivalent of the previous video, basically, because the difficulty selections, except now you have like different ways, different mechanics, like fucking soups, just like put all that shit in the pot. But like it's interesting. Why did he feel there was no expression? Why doesn't he talk about that? Because I feel like that's an interesting thing to dig into, right? Like you feel like the games are becoming more limited.
I think I'm starting to get what he's saying.
Yeah,
it's coming together to me. We're reading his title wrong. That's the thing. We're reading his title and we're like, Based.
Oh,
Based
wait.
title.
Oh,
Based
no.
title, motherfucker. Yeah, because we're sitting reading his title thinking he's going to talk about that player expression.
Yeah, it's like you
is
don't
a
care about
bullshit.
films. Yeah, he's like saying
Yeah, what he's saying, what we think he's going to say is that
you don't
player
appreciate.
expression is a bullshit term. It doesn't mean anything. It's actually more about mechanical versatility, and mechanical versatility is what players value. They just don't quite understand that. That's not what he's saying.
Yeah.
What he's saying is that you are complaining about player expression in Street Fighter 6 being gone, but it's not. It's better than ever. Is
Oh,
what
God.
he's saying. He's saying that when he's saying you don't care about player expression, he's
Yeah,
saying
he's like
that
you
you're
don't care about.
bitching.
Yeah, you don't get it. You're not
You don't
you're not
get it.
appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the great time.
Modern fighting games are full of player expression. You don't understand that. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
So he's not attacking the concept of player expression. He's saying that modern games are like just bursting with it. They're just like overflowing with player expression. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
And then that makes sense because then when he was talking about vortexes and
Yeah, that overrides.
all that, he's
'cause it
saying,
doesn't have a
he's saying
defensive options.
these old ass bitch
Busted,
games.
yeah, garbage games didn't
they
have
were
defensive
busted.
options.
They didn't have defensive options. They
Okay.
lacked player expression because you just get vortexed. That's what he's saying.
But why?
That's what he's
It's
saying.
such an interesting fucking question. Even if he believes that, right? It's such an interesting question. Why he felt that the player expression is gone? Did he just literally pick it up on Twitter?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
No, but I
think
mean,
that.
he said that he, in his research, he was like thinking, "Oh, I felt like it was gone," but then I looked at the games and I realized it's actually still there, right? That's what he's saying.
Because every game is the same, and he's saying that's good.
Yeah, well, yeah,
That's
but what I'm saying is just frustrating that he's not interrogating that feeling more, in this video, because that's such an interesting fucking. Yeah, but let's see the final section. Okay, yeah, that makes it a lot more clearer because I was so fucking confused in this video.
Yeah, we were reading his thesis.
Aw,
incorrectly.
man, I was so excited
Yeah.
about this video.
I
I
was
say.
excited. I was excited too. I thought he was
Fuck.
gonna
All right, let's see.
talk some smack.
As games evolve, we also see changes in the way people learn.
Evolved.
In the same quote from Squire, he begins to outline
know.
an issue that comes from how players interpret the information presented in front of them.
Is
Games
that
are
guy
no longer
famous?
just played
He's
between you
famous,
and your
right?
friends. Fighting
Who this?
no longer just played between. Same quote from
The
Squire,
kangaroo?
he begins to
No.
outline an issue that comes
Who?
from how
This
players.
guy?
He's famous, right? Yeah, because he's been in like 16 clips. He must be famous.
Probably, yeah, probably could be, or just this guy just watches his streams. This guy had like 1,000 viewers. That's it. It's Punk. Oh,
Yes, he's famous. I told you he's famous.
yeah, of course.
Interpret the information presented in front of them. Games are no longer just played between you and your friends. Fighting games specifically can consist of couch versus games with a sibling, followed by dozens of games in ranked, topped off with a Twitter nightcap of digesting opinions from random players and professionals alike.
No, go on
How are game
Twitter,
developers
dude.
supposed
What
to
are you
manage that
doing?
stream of information for you? Well, realistically, in our case, they're not. But let's try to pretend that they are.
Throw the controller. Roll the controller 2 times? What the fuck does that mean?
Squire goes on to say that when we have this many sources of
Oh, that
information
guy's
in game
video is
and out
actually
of
really
game,
pause it for a second. That guy's videos. He took a clip from another guy's video that's actually really funny. It's like making fun of combo tutorials, and that's like how fucking ridiculous they are.
Did he blast blasted
I've
salami?
seen that. No. The guy, the clip.
Yeah,
The
get it.
guy with the holding the controller. That was an actual video that guy
Yeah,
made. He actually has a lot of subs. He makes like funny videos. And he
Yeah, but I was
making
wondering
fun of tutorials.
if he made a video about like watching a blasted salami tutorial and just like
Oh.
trying every single
No.
fucking move in the game and what the fuck?
No, he's talking about the in-game how
Right.
they explain combos.
Oh,
like
the in-game.
notations.
Okay, yeah.
The in-game notations and how fucking
Right.
stupid
Yeah,
they are.
yeah. I was thinking that he was like blasting fucking video tutorials on YouTube, which honestly, like, don't fucking make a wiki video tutorial. I would rather get it on a wiki, that info. Whatever.
Yeah. No, it's pretty funny though.
a potential paradox arises. There's no way for the developers to be in tune with why everybody wants to play the game and how they're playing it. A casual player in Gold is going to have a very different experience than someone in Legend rank. And because of that, they're going to process the information extremely differently.
Yeah, you like that? Flip that controller, huh?
So,
see the
as an
clips
example,
from
a
the
player in
sketch
higher
video.
rank of Street Fighter 6 might look at drive impact and see it as a combo breaker. And while that might sound extreme, it actually has
not a
happened to players, and it is
paradox,
still
by the
happening
way.
every day. This isn't to say that Capcom didn't tell them what DI was. They certainly did. But what the player learned in playing the game was entirely different. Because in ranks where people are more likely to drop their combos and continue to press buttons, a DI is effectively a combo breaker. So by teaching the players what the move really did, they welcomed a totally new problem for these players when they start to learn in later ranks that there aren't combo breakers in Street Fighter 6. Now take that and add the aspect of the community, and suddenly things get even more confusing. But at the end of the day, depending on how seriously they're taking the game, the odds of learning the truth before dropping the game are probably about 50-50.
So he's saying that people think that the player expression is decreasing because they're shit at the games. Basically, he's saying that you're all scrubs, you suck, and you don't realize the depth that you're.
Yeah.
It's like that picture. Hold on. Let me find the picture real quick.
Steady. Careful.
The player expression. Do you see it?
I see the picture, but I don't get it.
Well, the people who complain about there not being player expression are right next to seeing the world
right.
of modern
Yeah.
player expression.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is him.
get
This
it,
is
yeah.
him. He knows. He
He's
knows.
going. Yeah, he's the guy in the top.
Yeah, this guy fucking gave up. Oh, yeah.
And you might be asking yourself, why would I bring this up when we're talking about player expression?
What the
and
fuck? Why did it freeze? Jesus,
up
YouTube.
when we're talking about player expression, and I'll
YouTube.
tell you why. It's because this paradox pretty much only appears in the most open-ended games with the most room for player expression.
It's
This
not a
idea of
paradox.
Street Fighter 6 being scrubby is because in reality, we're kind of against player expression existing in a way that's not just
So
fun.
so he is literally saying that the most open-ended games are the modern ones, the modern fighting games that are currently
The best.
being played. Yeah, and
they're the
people
best.
just don't realize that they're full of player expression because they're fucking idiots and they don't know how to play. Get Quash in here. I wanna see him hear this directly.
And
So
poor
people-
Guilty Gear XX.
Dude,
is getting
Quash would be so
owned,
fucking
man.
mad. Oh my god.
Guilty Gear XX is getting owned right now.
yeah. This is like a primitive fucking baby game with no player expression, and you just don't get it because you fucking suck, dude.
Even though it has all these defensive mechanics. But
I don't know. Fucking. I feel like it's like he could make that point, but I feel like he needs a lot more examples, a lot more direct examples if he's gonna make that point instead of just like a general one,
yeah.
Like, he needs-
Let's see how it comes together.
He needs like a Bible of fucking example. Just drop that shit on my desk, I'm gonna look through that shit. You can't just fucking whip that out and just say that, Especially when you're calling us idiots. Well, to be fair, I suck at fighting games, but
Offense.
I'm being expressive. My gameplay is expressing. I missed the backwards.
Wait, is
I know
that
people will
him?
get upset at me for
No,
saying
that's
that, but I mostly mean
that's
it in
Brian
the-
F. I think that's one of the few white guy fighting game guys who look exactly the same and talk exactly
Oh,
the
I was gonna
same.
say, I was about to say, is that Sajam?
Yeah, that might be Sajam or Brian F. One of those. I genuinely get them confused.
Sajam. I know it's not Sajam because his voice isn't Sajam.
Right.
better sense. Although people have a lot to say about the defensive mechanics in Dragon Ball
There's
FighterZ
like 3 of those
that's another
guys.
topic for another
Just-
day. In Street Fighter 6,
I know.
the attacker has a similar
The
amount on their mind
Giuna.
when compared to
Yeah, they need
All
some.
3 of them, I get them so mixed up.
Yeah, they need some fucking just real world player expression or something going on. I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah.
like,
One of them
needs
should
to
be like
grow
a
his hair or
yeah.
something,
One of them should
grow
be
his
like a
hair or
goth.
something.
Just
Yeah,
just-
one goes goth and one grows out his hair,
yeah, exactly. All right.
and then one shaves his head.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
the player on
Gets
defense.
tattoos
There's
on his
always the
head.
threat
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
perfect parry
fucking
when your offense is too predictable,
go
even
monk
if it
mode.
is theoretically airtight.
Yeah.
And while many say
That'll
this
be
is
like a
busted
fighting
and needs to
game
go,
roster.
I think that response misses the point of what Street Fighter 6 is trying to be.
You're missing the point.
In the same way that Street Fighter 3 tried to break away from
I
being Street
love
Fighter and
Street Fighter
failed,
6,
I
man.
think 6 is actually nailing it. The game barely looks like a Street Fighter. It
he's
definitely
like
doesn't
Street
feel
Fighter,
like
Street
any of
Fighter
its past
fucking,
iterations. Because
Third
why
Strike, bitch.
This guy is
Eat
fucking.
it, Third Strike, eat it. He's
You
good.
gotta hand it to him. This guy's going hard, whether it's justified or not. I'm not sure about that, but someone talked shit about Street Fighter 6 and he got fucking pissed.
He ain't having it. That's what we figured it out. He loves Street Fighter 6 and he ain't having this.
Yeah,
this
he
shit talk.
like got into fighting games with Tekken 7. He's checking out like Street Fighter 6, the new Guilty Gear.
Yeah,
He's
and
like,
it's all coming together, and he's seeing all these old bitches.
yeah,
like,
these old
Wash
fucking
talking
boomers.
talking about 6 and talking about Guilty Gear Strive, and he's like,
Yeah,
baby.
no, actually, yeah,
baby.
you don't know.
You and your dumbass Vortex games,
Okay.
would the developers want to just make another version of a game that they've already made? The issue with comparing these newer games to
That's
those
kind of fair, to be honest. People just just make another Third Strike. It's like, why would they, right?
But
no,
I
but
feel like,
Mr. fucking
hold
artistic
on.
expression is gonna fucking
No,
defend.
hold on.
Yeah,
I talked about it in the tragedy of fighting games.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit. I sympathize with the old man syndrome in this to some degree, because sometimes you're literally forced to stop playing the game you want.
That is true.
Like,
Yeah.
you just want to play Third Strike. That's really all you want to do. And because of the way fighting games work, where the community forces you to play the newer game, I have some sympathy for the old men, because like, what if you just want to play Third Strike?
Does that not mean
And then
then
you're like, you can't. Well, you can, but you have to go to the retirement home with all the other old guys.
yeah, fucking wield it.
And all the content and all this, all the sponsors and shit, they're all playing Street Fighter 6.
Yep.
So it's like the one exception where I feel like there are players who really want the same game again justifiably, because they literally want the same game again. That's what they actually want. But the like with Resident Evil 4, you can just continue to play Resident Evil 4. But with a fighting game, you can't. Like, because of them being community and you need other players, you kind of do get forced to play the newer game against your will a little bit. So I am going to defend the old people a little bit here.
Well, I feel like it's going to be tricky. There's going to be like a conflict between your idea of, make games like you want, and also this kind of like increasing hype culture and fucking fear of missing out stuff.
Well, this is another, not to bring it back to Virtua Fighter, but this is another reason why I really respect Virtua Fighter, because Virtua Fighter's like, well, we don't really have a good idea for 6, so we're just gonna stay on 5 until we come up with it. So if you loved 5, you could play it for fucking a decade, because Sega, they could have released 6, I think, but they're like, we're not feeling it. So you got to stick with 5, and I am quite optimistic when 6 comes out, it will be a good extension.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
5,
like, yeah.
rather than being like this fucking completely different game.
But
that's my thought.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky, because let's go against your idea. So you have to like apply different standards for competitive games and single player games.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Okay.
Because it would be kind of interesting if the developers... But there is kind of examples of this in other games, right? Because isn't there other competitive games like Counter-Strike where they're like done? They're not making more Counter-Strikes. It's like,
but
this is the game.
Yeah, but that's a lot better, because that they update Counter-Strike for like fucking 15 years, so you get new versions. Because now they release...
But they don't like... let's say you're a hardcore Counter-Strike guy, right? And you've been playing Counter-Strike for 10 years.
Yeah.
They don't like make... I know for a while they used to, but now they don't make like Counter-Strike 6, and then all of a sudden...
They actually released a new one, and everyone's pissed now, so
Did they really?
Yeah, it just came out recently, and people are fucking mad.
Well, that's what I'm gonna say. It's like maybe in a sick kind of way, like if you want to do this whole esports thing, like it does kind of make more sense to just settle the game and just kind of like have little tweaks here and there, but kind of be like, okay, this is the game. This is it.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's a very...
Brood Wars still play competitively all these years later, because it's like, this is the game.
Yeah, we're just
release
it. Yeah, I feel like
we're gonna keep playing it, bitch.
Yeah, I feel like PC games are a lot better about that, because even CS:GO, because CS:GO has been going for what, 12 years. I remember Team Fortress 2 as well. It's still fucking going. Like it's still getting updates, I believe. It still has like a community.
That's why I made that video, the tragedy of
fighting games. With fighting games, like one and done, basically.
It's literally like there's no solution to it.
Yeah,
there's no solution.
It's tricky.
You either
just
play the same game forever, and the developers don't make any money, therefore the game dies, or they have to like, just for the sake of releasing something, make a new game, even if the new game is worse than the old game, and everyone knows it. They still have to do it because they need to sell you something new. So it's a mess. It's a mess.
Okay, let's see how he finishes it off. I'm gonna address Quash directly, just to talk shit about him.
past is that obviously
TF2 is only getting cosmetics and some bug fixes, but that's important, right? So if a new Windows comes out not supported, they're gonna patch it so it runs on modern systems, so the servers are up. You know, it's connected to Steam. They're maintaining it. So like it's not even if it's just getting cosmetics. If it's not getting like major gameplay tweaks. That's good still. You know, that's probably even better.
That's the point.
Yeah,
because
it's getting maintained, not actively developed, basically. All right. I have been exploring Sega games I skipped because of the console wars. That is a very unfortunate position to be in.
That could be fun though.
It's fun, yeah. You fucking Sega is awesome. What the fuck? Why would you let Nintendo of all people ruin them for you? Jesus.
You know, I did that with the PS1 because I didn't have a PS1, but it wasn't like
fucking sour grapes.
But it wasn't like oh, the PS1 sucks. It was literally my parents refused to allow me to have one, and so I just couldn't play it. And then the PS2 came out, and I'm like, fuck the PS1. So there's still like this huge library of PS1 games I've never played, like Einhander and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I still have that a bit with the PS1.
Yeah, thankfully the whole brand fucking defense shit wasn't a thing here because we didn't get like those fucking advertisers or you don't defend Sega to the kids in class, you're a fucking idiot. You know? So fucking advertisers like that. Whatever. I was wrong. I'm fixing it. I'm old enough to really appreciate Sega games. They're terrific. Hell yeah. Yeah, you have seen the light. You have been forgiven.
Yeah. You're properly old now.
Yeah.
Of a game that they've already made. The issue with comparing these newer games to those of the past.
I feel like Sega gives you a more thorough taste palette. You can like there's so much shit and there's like extremely like ridiculously hardcore games. There's like casual stuff. There's like kids games basically. There's everything in between. Serious cinematic experiences. I feel like if you're a Sega fanboy, you just get like a wider palette and you can branch off in a lot more ways than Nintendo.
Well, they were just doing shit.
They were just doing fucking crazy shit, especially in the arcades.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Obviously, the developers didn't want it to be like those past games. The games aren't bad, but if they were going to try to recreate that, why not just make Super Ultra Omega Hyper Street Fighter 4
why not?
and continue that till the end of time?
Why not?
The answer to that question is really simple. They just don't want to.
Yeah, well, why don't they want to? Explain. All right.
They don't want to because they don't make money.
Yeah.
Apolitan University, students were encouraged to play the simulation game Civilization and become familiar with it. As they got better at the game, communities formed that experimented with it, not only for understanding its rules, but also its mechanics. Players optimized solutions for hundreds of situations, and even began to find exploits to beat the AI at any difficulty. Eventually, however, certain players started to become so familiar with the mechanics that they would remove rules and change the way the game worked entirely. These players essentially created their own game within a game, and started creating their own simulations with different rules for other people to try.
Has this happened with a fighting game besides Smash, ever?
No.
Weren't there characters banned from like a Third Strike shit, like tournaments or something?
Oh yeah, you mean community rules? Oh yeah, those existed forever. I thought you meant
but have they been like
create an entire new metagame?
Yeah, but have it strayed into that territory at any point?
Smash is the only fighting game that's literally made a new game like with
but what's the closest any other game came to that? Would you say?
Maybe like some of those like Kusoge games where they like
those
you from doing doing like all the infinites or something.
Yeah, like no one takes those seriously, but like a serious, like a competitive,
No, I can't think of one.
Okay, so then he's imagining a fucking problem and creating a solution for it.
Yeah,
yeah,
proper video essay, right?
Yeah, just it's not. Yeah. Is it a problem? I don't think so. Where's the fucking evidence, Mister?
Also, Smash has like the old. Even though I don't like the later games, they've incorporated that into the games now.
Yeah.
So like modern Smash, they don't. It's like built into the game now.
Yeah, and I mean, if the games were maintained, they could literally fucking patch a lot of that bullshit and just continue the game going. The players wouldn't have to create a meta. The meta would be built into the games. It would just evolve with the player base. So this is an argument for keeping the same game alive in a way.
He's saying, I think what he's saying, again, he's doing this whole thing where he's getting real academic because it sounds really cool to do that. But I think he's literally saying that the developers are bored and they get
Well,
bored working on the same game.
he's saying that the players are working on the developers release a great game, the players ruin it with their degenerate fucking first order strat, right? And then the developers are like, ugh, and they make something new. I think that's what he's trying to say, but he's applying it to a situation where it just doesn't work. We're literally because
you know what game is really popular and has a really you talk to people who played the game and they're like, you know what, I'm just bored of this. I wish they would just change the rules.
Yeah.
Is chess. You talk
yeah,
to chess
that is
players,
true. Yeah.
And they're like, you know what, this whole fucking the horse jumping over thing shit, fuck that.
Yeah, I need some more action. I need fucking
some
timers.
more pawns. The queen should jump over the horse.
Yeah, the queen should have jiggle physics.
Why can't the queen jump over shit like the horse can?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's chess players saying that exactly, but yeah, I know that they have variants and shit. Every other top player has their own variant.
I was being sarcastic.
It's true though.
I think it's points.
It is true though, Mark. It is true.
That people do chess variants.
Yeah, because if you look at
but not at a tournament level.
Yeah, there's a standard. But okay, well, fuck. I wanted to say something that connected a lot of the shit we've been talking about. I forgot it. Hold on. Let's see. So,
he's saying that the developers are bored.
Okay.
So they need to make a new game.
Okay. Here's the Okay, this is a good point because you were saying because I brought up how you have different standards seemingly for single player and multiplayer games because you expect with single players you want the developers to do whatever the fuck they want. With the multiplayer ones, you want them to kind of follow keep the games up. They should make a consistent experience. And here he actually explained he offered a good way to explain the difference because if single player games evolve, they get boring because they can be solved in a way that multiplayer games cannot because
because you can't solve
you cannot solve the opponent. Yeah, the existence of some if a move gets used a lot, then people literally just because of the frequency of that move's usage, people will find ways to play around it. It's the player base adapts. The game doesn't have to.
You think about in game design terms, your human opponent is unlimited RNG.
Yeah.
It's an endless factory of RNG that never ends.
Yeah, exactly.
That you can never fully solve either. It's the perfect game. It's the perfect element in game design that's missing.
Yeah, and that's where he fucks up because he Civilization 2 is a single player game.
It's
right?
a single player game. It's a single player game.
I think it has a multiplayer. I don't know. Okay, hold on. Let me check this real quick. So.
Even if it has a multiplayer, it's parallel. It's not PvP. You're not PvPing against each other.
Yeah, I guess maybe the point is that it was designed as a single player game. That's why you can find such optimal degenerate strats that it becomes boring. So yeah, basically the difference is.
But that's a single player game.
Yeah. The difference he fucked up because he compared a single player game to fighting games here.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. Chess needs meters.
Is what happens in our beloved fighting game franchise.
Yeah, chess does need meters. I agree.
No, God. Imagine just making that and fucking unleashing that abomination. God.
You have to roll a dice to get the you want to move your pawn, but you have to roll a dice to get the pawn to move.
Yeah, just loot boxes, jiggle physics on the queen for that gacha experience. Meters everywhere, Fucking
yeah.
Eventually,
don't forget dice rolls.
Oh yeah,
dice rolls.
Incredible, yeah. Okay.
Who's this guy?
Perfect example of such.
That would be me.
Is that him?
This is Shuhei Matsumoto, the producer of Street Fighter 6, I imagine. Damn, I fucking deduced all that on the fly. Holy shit! How did he know? All right. It's side by side, every piece of info. Fucking.
And the mechanics are all nods to different things we've seen in Street Fighter from the past. We have parry from Street Fighter 3, DI kind of works like focus attack from Street Fighter 4, and supers are a nod to the V triggers and supers from 4 as well. Our fighting games are evolving, and these evolutions come from people who are extremely familiar with how the mechanics work. Or at least they are most of the time. In the same way we want new ways to express ourselves, so do the developers. With that, instead of blaming certain...
He has a good point here, Mark. Right?
Don't ever blame the developer. I've said that many times, and I would like to repeat that here on this stream today. If you're playing a game and you're finding like, the mechanics aren't really well fleshed out. Maybe the enemy HP is really high. Maybe you feel like you found some degenerate strategies like circle strafing or really OP builds that make other builds invalid. The point you need to remember, kids, is that this is your problem and you need to fix it.
Yeah,
and there's
no
different ways you can
refunds.
do this.
This is not your problem. One
way to fix it. One way to fix it is to go to the options menu and to change the difficulty. Like every so often, you're
every
gonna have
single
to change
variable
difficulty.
in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if that's not working, they need to you change the variables. And if that's not working, what you need to do is you need to express yourself more. Like let's say you feel like I want to express myself by playing with a really shitty weapon that isn't well balanced. That's how you should. That's player expression, man. That means something about you. And so I agree fully. Don't blame the developers because their job is not to like refine a game and balance it. Their job is to just hand you a bunch of stuff and let you decide.
I don't mean to interrupt the cooking, Mark, but I wasn't being sarcastic. I was like, because if that is true that you should blame the developers to an extent, but also the developers do have a need to self-express, and these kinds of like demands for them to fucking remake the same game do actually, impede those needs, right?
They're not doing that though.
Okay.
That's absolutely not true. With modern fighting games, they are not expressing themselves.
Yeah,
what they're doing is they're homogenizing all the mechanics.
Fucking no, I just added to that. What?
Oh, you did?
I said they're engineering them, like doing market research and shit. They're not like expressing their preferences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You think they're sitting around being like, you know what? In
fucking
5,
blasted
I just wasn't feeling it. And I think in 6, man, we just need to like bring back the parries, man. And everyone in the room's like, you know what? You're right, man. No, they're like focus testing it. They're looking at other games. They're seeing, what's selling? Tekken 7's selling well. What's Tekken doing? Yeah. And then Tekken's looking at Street Fighter like, what's Street Fighter doing? Oh, let's add heat, dude, and let's add FADCs. That works.
Yeah.
Yeah, every game there's no expression happening here. It's like focus group homogenization.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, it would work. This argument would be good if in a world where, the fucking developers were like indie devs and they're sitting in their home,
exactly.
It would, but when you're talking about fucking corporations that like any individual member barely gets any kind of expression, developer expression going on, it doesn't really apply there.
No.
Very well, yeah.
It would work if he showed like clips of those crazy ass like Toho fighting games and stuff. There's some expression going on.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they can do anything because it's like 3 fucking guys in like a self-created sweatshop basically.
Or maybe even like a actress again, maybe something like that.
Yeah, maybe
an actress again.
Yeah, I feel like Type Lumina is a lot more.
Yeah, that's like what Type Lumina is you have an indie band and they're like getting a bit of a fan base and people love them, and then they go to their major label and the major label's like, okay, all right, we're gonna have to like make this a little bit more like normie here.
Yeah,
that's exactly what Type Lumina is. It's the major label debut.
Yeah, this applies. This is true of art fighting games, not just these fucking big franchises. I would say, yeah.
Things on player expression. I think it's really okay for us to just say we don't like certain things over others. A game allowing you to express yourself has less to do with the amount of choices on paper that you can make, and rather the divergent options that you don't see at a glance. And remember, I'm not trying to make a sweeping statement. It's just that there's a reason we see this player expression argument pop up twice a year, and that reason is, I don't think anyone is actually on the same page when they say player expression. If I wasn't able to express myself in Street Fighter 6, I wouldn't be able to line this video with custom combos that nobody else has done, and show them off. This game might be the...
That's the ultimate player expression. Combos.
Yeah, really? But you literally just said, what was this fucking whole segment about? Loss aversion then? What was the vortex about then? What the fuck? What is this? What do you mean? What is the costume example for? Because this is a costume. This is not a player expression. This is a fucking costume. How many of those combos are you going to use in a match? How many of them are fucking optimal? Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how it ties together.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it doesn't. It clashes from what I know. He just...
Yeah, because shouldn't he be doing the optimal thing?
Yeah, I mean, and
Because that's vortexing. He could just
Yeah,
not vortex in Street Fighter 4.
yeah, he can just do anything, right? But he
And like
had a whole
in Street Fighter
section.
4, if you decided not to vortex, you can do all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah,
You could they had this whole red focus mechanic no one used because it wasn't optimal, so no one used it. You could like be the guy who red focuses and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him, he's red focus guy.
yeah, exactly. But then, yeah, these two sections completely just directly clash with no survivors. They fucking crashed into each other directly. All right, let's see how he finishes off.
The pinnacle of player expression when it comes to building a character and making moves and combo routes and all of that stuff. So with that, that's all I've got for now. I'll see you in the next
That's all he's got. I don't know. The fucking.
What he's saying is that, okay, I'm going to be serious now. What he's saying, and I'm going to give a serious reading of what he said. I'm not going to joke and troll. What he's saying is that when people complain about player expression, they're complaining about other things because player expression in modern fighting games is really high, and it is in fact higher than in older fighting games. So when you complain about Street Fighter 6, you're complaining about something, but it isn't player expression because modern fighting games have player expression on lock. They're like better than ever at player
See, that's why I have a. Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's why I have a hard time talking about this video because I don't know these games well enough, so I can't. Like having Quash here, he would fucking annihilate this this fucking video. I feel, but yeah.
Well, Quash said in Strive that like literally they removed a lot of what made Guilty Gear. What people would call player expression.
Yeah, well,
like
the feeling I got, as like a casual fighting game player, is that a lot of routes for distinguishing yourself from others, like for example, extremely difficult links and shit, have been minimized in newer games, like with
they have.
And then,
but he kind of alluded to that, and then he kind of was like,
yeah, and then on top of that, something like. On top of that, also, I feel like he's doing like a mechanics first analysis, where he's like, "Oh, these games have more expression because they have, like, for example, more defensive options or something like. They let you do more combos." Yeah. Well, they do not.
Well, they definitely don't have more defensive options. I don't think.
Well, not Strive, but like Street Fighter 6 versus 4, right?
I don't know, because Street Fighter 4 had FADC. And that's kind of like a parry.
Yeah, I feel like he needed a lot more examples for some.
Yeah,
he
might be right. He could be right.
Yeah, he could make the argument, but I need more.
But it's like a pretty thin margin if it is. It's not like drastic. Like, oh, Street Fighter 4, you just get knocked down and get vortexed, and that's the game.
And I feel like
Street Fighter 6, that doesn't exist. It's like they may have, because in 4 they did remove the vortex eventually.
Right.
So the vortex was removed. So he kind of didn't mention that. And then in 6, like it's like a follow-up to 4, but it's not like drastically different in terms of like the wake-ups and the parries, except you have whatever parry system rather than FADC. But they even nerfed the parry to be more like FADC rather than third strikes, where you could just wake up and parry shit and parry all day. And I feel like, though, Third Strike still has to be way more versatile than 6 with the parries, because you could, like, straight up reverse shit that you can't. Like, for example, when I first started playing Third Strike, people would do a jump in, and if you played the other Street Fighter games, you just uppercut them. In 6 or in 3, people would jump in and parry your uppercut and then punish you for uppercutting. I was like... So in Third Strike, you actually had to, like, you couldn't just, you'd either have to do a double, like, tricky uppercut, or you'd have to, like, do different anti-airs because they could literally parry your uppercuts.
Right. Yeah, and
like that's way more defensive oriented and crazy than 6. But he kind of like removes 6, but he removes 3 from the equation.
Yeah, he doesn't really talk about 3. He talks about 4, which, is a bit weird. Yeah, I don't know. It also feels like mechanics first analysis, where he's like, "Oh, these mechanics are present, therefore, this has more player expression." Instead of looking at like the outcomes, the dynamics, and like the whole idea of, "Oh, if you don't see this, it's just because you shit at the games." I'm not sure. Like I can't say because I'm not good enough at these games to counter that or affirm it. he could make the argument, but he would just I just need more to fucking confirm that shit, right?
I was really hoping. Let's talk about what we were thinking the video might talk about. That I was hoping to talk about, which it kind of didn't. Which was I was hoping he was going to talk about the concept of player expression.
Yeah, that's why
how the concept is vague and stupid.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to watch it, because if I knew it was more like defending newer fighting games, I wouldn't watch it, because I don't have much to say about that because I don't play them. But the concept of play, I was expecting him to attack the concept of player expression and be like, okay, what you say when you say you need player expression, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This is what you actually mean. This is how these games like presented it. You know, that's what you loved. But another thing is like, why do?
But he was talking about how combos are an example of like player expression, but are they? Because like we're talking about the design. Let's say you do one combo and you hit these inputs and it does 50 damage. And then you do another combo, and you hit these inputs, and it does 50 damage. Is that true expression, or is that artificial depth?
That is like costumes. That's his costumes example, basically.
Right, it's aesthetic.
Yeah, aesthetic. It's like, it's part of it, but like, it's part of what... But it's not... Because, you know, in terms of aesthetic expression, I feel like fighting games just got better nowadays. Like, a lot better, because you can actually dress up your characters. There's a lot more costumes that go into them.
Guess who invented that?
Soul Calibur, right?
No,
Virtua Fighter, of course. Fucking Virtua Fighter, dude.
Virtua Fighter, and you know all the customized costumes and all that? That comes from Virtua Fighter.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, and it's, I don't know, it's like... And then as far as, like, the actual, you know, because it's a common sentiment, so what is his alternative explanation for why people feel like there's less expression? Like, what do you think?
No, he's saying people are complaining.
Yeah, but why are they complaining?
Because they don't understand what player expression is.
Oh, no, but they feel like there was something in the older games that's missing now. What are they talking about?
He didn't ever address it.
Yeah. Well, I'm asking, what do you think?
The only example he brought up was vortexing, and he's like, vortexing sucks, so you guys are stupid. Basically.
Yeah, well, he's
just kind of, you know. I actually agree. I think vortexing is stupid, but anyway.
Yeah, it's like his argument was just that the players like don't get it. They're complaining because they don't get to that higher level of playing these games. But how does that not apply to the older games? I feel like that would be equally true of them, that they wouldn't get all the depth of the options available to them right away. So where's the feeling coming from? What's the fucking alternative explanation?
He really honed in on defensive mechanics.
Well, okay, but
I think in his mind, I don't agree, but I think in his mind, he legitimately thinks that newer fighting games have more defensive mechanics.
Right.
And that is the key to player expression, because he even showed the little chart, right, of like, oh, you're doing all this stuff and I'm laying on the floor.
Yeah, because I don't get to act. So defense.
Yeah. So his thought is that the defensive mechanics is what is the key to player expression.
Well,
I get it.
What do you think?
I get it.
Yeah.
But he kind of removed Third Strike from the.
Well, why do you think people feel like there is less player expression if it's so close? Like in terms of.
I don't agree with him. I don't agree, because I think that there's this whole lost dynamic with older fighting games of like. Remember when we talked about rhythm games earlier in the stream?
Yeah.
And like part of the mechanical depth of rhythm games is like interacting physically with the peripheral. Like older fighting games, interacting physically with the inputs, doing the motion inputs, doing the more tighter links and stuff, it does add a dimension to the gameplay that if you really invested in that dimension and you really enjoyed it, and then they just remove it, you feel the loss. You feel like, oh, I learned to double, like in Third Strike, for example, I learned to buffer double quarter supers. And that was like a legitimate skill you had to learn, and it had its own technical merits of like, you had to have faster reactions, because to get the buffer out, you had to act earlier. So if you wanted to like punish something, it almost made it like a special punish, even though frame data wise it isn't.
Yeah.
So now, buffer.
So you say that now because the games are more lenient in execution, they're more like they're more focused on decision making. That's the only avenue through which you can improve.
Because,
it's like the only axis
and
of
I
improvement.
talked about that in Street Fighter 6 of like why I think I'm legitimately better at that game than I should be, because I learned all the habits of, like in Third Strike, I learned a lot of the habits of proper play because that's how I compensated for not being good at what's it called? There's a certain term for it, where you're able to do a super instantly on reaction. I'm trying to remember what the term for that is.
Yeah, I don't.
Hit confirm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So in Third Strike, I learned actually a lot of neutral, and I learned a lot of neutral meta and stuff because I'm not good at hit confirming into super. And hit confirming into super is like a linchpin skill. If you can hit confirm into super in that game, it does legitimately push you up in skill. Funnily enough, though, in Street Fighter 6, because of the modern control system, or even just because of the more lenient inputs, I can hit confirm into super in that game with no problem, with like perfect consistency. And so it ironically makes me probably unnaturally good at that game because I learned the neutral already playing other Street Fighters, but I never learned the mechanical depth. So basically, you take a Third Strike player, me and him playing Third Strike, he can hit confirm into super in Third Strike, and I can't.
Yeah.
But we're kind of evenly matched because I'm better at neutral and all that kind of stuff. Well, you take that guy and you stick him against me in Street Fighter 6, I'm going to have an advantage over him now because we both can hit confirm into super now. Easy. So that's not even a skill that matters anymore.
Yeah.
And I think if you're a player who spent decades learning this shit and then they just remove it from newer fighting games, that's where the feeling comes from.
Yeah, those execution barriers actually had a fucking way to distinguish yourself. Yeah, it's literally
But
like
they
that.
also, the thing about this that really frustrates me is people don't talk about, because a lot of people who make these arguments don't actually play fighting games or try to play them competitively, is that hit confirming into super is not just a technical thing. It also factors into your decision making.
Yeah, of course, because that's not an option on your table. Yeah, you make
exactly. So I can't hit confirm into super in that game very well. So I have to adjust my decision making and play style to compensate for that as much as I can. So I will do shit that's suboptimal because I can't hit confirm into super. So I'll like use EX moves all the time. And when you ask Third Strike players, should you use EX moves? They'll say, no, you should save your meter for supers, at least with Ken. But with Ken, I can hit confirm into EX. So I'll do all these EX hit confirms, and that actually plays into my decision making because I can't hit confirm into super.
Yeah, so here
it creates a play style.
Yeah,
it creates a legitimate play style.
And look,
but if
and
you can
that's
hit confirm into super, that play style doesn't need to
and
exist.
look, the play style that develops isn't like, oh, I chose this. It's more like it organically develops out of your talents and skills that you picked up.
Right.
Yeah, and so
and some guys, I know this too. Some guys know who kind of suck at neutral, but they can hit confirm into big combos and stuff. And what's funny is you can almost sort of reverse that on them because he's just sitting there waiting to do it. So you'll just tease him and be like, come on, stick out your leg. I know you so badly want to hit me with a super. Or with a medium kick into super. I know that's what you're waiting for. So you'll like bait out the medium kick because that's what he wants
so
to
like
do.
basically you have like a lot of skills that are getting tested to a really high level where it's like it almost transcends skill and enters into like talent territory, where you can't really and you have that and that completely goes against this modern mentality of like fighting games as a decision-making games,
Yeah. Just play chess.
Just play some kind of strategy game. But and then not only that, but then also like those things kind of lead in. They connect into other options. They connect into other moves.
Well, there's a whole other aspect of this too that fighting game players don't talk about, which is the psychological, Dartmouth studies, but like a real psychological example, which I will use in tournaments, is if you can tell that they're a little bit shaky or they're a little bit nervous, you can be like, okay, I bet you won't be able to hit the hit confirm because you're nervous. So then you'll start to take risks that you wouldn't take because they're nervous. Like, oh, he's going to be too scared to do it. So I'm going to take this big risk because he's not going to be able to do it. And what's funny is you can tell, and you can often be right. It's funny. And even if you're online, even if you're playing someone online, just by the way they move they move and they choose the moves, you can tell this guy's nervous. He's fucking.
Yeah, well,
he's swinging.
you know what's-
He's swinging way too much.
Yeah.
He's nervous.
You know what's beneficial for that, actually, now that I think about it? I think what's beneficial for that is really fast, snappy default movement. Because you can literally physically see, like, the character fucking just the taps intensifying, you know? You can...
The best example of that is in Melee, because it's so intensive in the movement. You can literally see people when they're nervous stuttering.
Yeah.
Because they're missing their inputs. So you can literally see their character, like, shaking. Like, oh, you're scared. I can see it.
Yeah, so you
in
want
your character.
Yes, and that again, that goes against the fucking decision making thing. Because decision making, you get better at decision making when the games are kind of more slowly, reasonably paced. Because you can only factor in so many things when the games are like lightning fast.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like literally, the idea is, a lot of the stuff he talked about in the video literally goes against the idea, the idea of the things that actually create like a feeling of player expression in games, in older games. Also,
like one thing about my playstyle I'll do in fighting games is when I start to get nervous, what I'll do is I'll revert back to really basic shit. Like that's what I'll tend to do.
That's my fucking playstyle, dude. I'm gonna try something cool and then immediately like, oh fuck.
Yeah, a lot of players they'll do the opposite. When they get nervous, they'll start to take bigger risks.
Yeah.
And so I've developed a playstyle. When I get nervous, I'll take less risks. Because that typically works out better. Not always, but it typically works out better. So if I get scared or start to get nervous, I'll start to just kind of take less risks, play a little bit more passively. But a lot of people, they'll start to just swing and throw supers and throw ultras or whatever. They'll start swinging when they get nervous. So, especially newer players. So, that's a thing where decision making it's a whole different game because you have to actually cope with your psychological state.
Yeah, that's
versus just on paper. Oh, he's going to use a super, so I'll use a low forward, and then when he does that, I'll punish with a no.
Yeah, Stray Cat Chillin is saying that's an old boxing idiom. When in doubt, jab. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like literally.
Before
in Virtua Fighter, literally, jab.
Sattermorn says, before Gunvein, I didn't really know about slow to fast moving on tracking shots to create a gap. So streaming, they didn't know about streaming. Instead, I got better at micro dodging to compensate. There's a funny example.
I did that too.
There's a funny example. There's a funny example on for me because I play on the Steam Deck and I'm really shitty with the D-pad, so I have to route games a lot more than I would have if I played on PC. And as a result, like a lot of my routing gets a lot better just because I can't fucking control my ship. You know, I have to the patterns that I could just dodge on reaction. I have to actually fucking route and plan for. So it just. Yeah, like those execution that you really want to fucking emphasize execution, and you want to convey the differences in execution like very tiny ways, you know, very snappy, quick mechanics, fast movement, a lot of like granularity in move expression, because a lot of the playstyle stuff is visible in like the moves that have a lot of granularity to them, not like states, you know, like you press a button you go into state, but more like, you know, how hard you press a button, how long you hold it, all that stuff. That's where a lot of the exact, you know, expression comes from.
Yeah, you could even say like precision of mechanics. Player expression. You don't just choose an option. You choose also how precise that option is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you don't just choose to what extent. A jab. You choose a long range jab that's slower, or a short range jab that's faster.
Yeah. Well, that's the idea of the three. That's the idea of the three light, medium, heavy punches to begin with, right? Except they're tied to very discrete states. But in something like dashing, that's a lot more granular because it'll depend on like how long you hold the button and shit.
Yeah. So, or you can get really, really crazy with it, like certain games where you get different outcomes to your moves and punches based off of like direction, based off of
there he fucking goes again.
Yeah, position and direction, and if you buffer it and all kinds of things. Yeah.
imagine, yeah. So literally, like this video is more. I don't know. It's just.
It's saying that modern fighting games are.
Yeah, that's at the end of the day, that's literally just like I like modern fighting games. Fuck you, boomers. That's the video.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever. Let's finish off the fucking the nightmare.
I can't. I have to leave.
That's unfortunate. All right, I'm gonna have to actually fucking develop in this dev stream. Damn, Mark, what have you fucking brought upon me? Okay.
Maybe, yeah, and next time you'll have to select 2 more videos.
Oh God, yeah, guys, if you know any good video essays, send the links. I'm gonna drop them in the fucking interesting links channel, and we're gonna see what the fuck.
I need to find a video essay all about why the horse in Elden Ring is awesome and make you watch it.
Elden Ring horse.
There's none. No one cares that much. It's all about like.
Can you beat Elden Ring with a horse? Yeah, no one cares. Horse locate. Yeah, there's nothing.
No, because that's a mechanic. Like Elden Ring's going to be about like lore. And
one of the hardest decisions I find myself.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Mark. That was good fun. Gotta do this shit.
It was a
tomorrow.
fun time. I've made 2 people on the internet really mad at me, so hopefully they never see this video.
If you're mad at me, just go redirect that to Mark, fellas. If any, they're probably not gonna fucking watch this, but if they will, get blessed, Mark. Mark's comment sections are open and welcoming. Just go.
No. If you are Rasputin and the guy who made the fighting game video, don't watch.
Oh my God!
Don't watch this video.
Oh my
don't talk. Don't get mad at me.
Yeah, well, I
mean, I make enough people mad at me on the internet. I don't need other YouTubers.
Well, ultimately, he's fucking winning, so it doesn't fucking matter. He has the better strat.
Destroying me.
Yeah, we're just fucking hipsters at the end of the day.
You're superior. I'm inferior. Don't get mad.
Yeah, just all right. You guys roasting bad video essays. We're trying to be constructive, but sometimes, yes, it ends up with that.
That's how I am. That's the problem. It's like,
yeah.
You guys, you know how I am with critiquing things. So if you put a video essay in front of me, I'm gonna be snippy and stuff. That's how I am.
Yeah, I have to fucking hold you back, Mark. No, wait. He's about to make a point. Don't wait, Mark.
I know.
You're like, where's the fucking thesis, Bob? Where's the thesis? Yeah.
Wait a minute. There could be a reverse though, because I'm also I also pick things up that probably other people wouldn't. So if someone's doing a really good job, I probably would be like, oh, look, he's doing something good here, where a lot of people wouldn't even pay attention.
Yeah. Well,
so
they made
the reverse could happen. The reverse could happen. It's possible.
Okay, yeah, they made interesting points sometimes, but it's just very fucking.
I just wish.
I
just wish.
I wish they focused that. I wish they fucking refined that shit. Just I don't know.
Yeah.
Just talk to someone argumentative, I guess, and try to fucking defend your points to someone like that. Talk to Quash about fighting games before publishing a video essay.
Here's my problem with it, and my problem with the video essay genre. I like the format.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of my videos are like video essay-ish for sure, but the thing I don't like about it is my idea would be, okay, you make a video essay about difficulty, and the point of making that video essay about difficulty is you're explaining something about your view of difficulty as a YouTuber or reviewer that you want to share, and you want to create kind of a value system to share with the world of, this is what I think about difficulty. These are kind of the things that I like about it. These are the issues. These are the topics that we're going to be focusing on in this channel. But that's not what video essays are. They're more of just explorations, but then there's never conclusions.
Yeah, and they often backtrack.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of we're just going to talk about difficulty today, but I have no particular views on difficulty, or I don't think anything in particular about it. So we're just going to talk about what other people have said about difficulty, but then also talk about what other people have said about other people saying about it, and we're just going to, say stuff.
Yeah, the problem is there aren't very good essays.
I really want okay, these are my thoughts about difficulty. These are the issues. Yeah. This is what I don't like. This is what I do like. A lot of direction and
even if there's no clear thesis, you can have multiple thoughts, but just at least have strong conclusions within the little stretches of fucking videos. Because otherwise, this guy almost said, okay, when I see a lot of difficulty options, it gets overwhelming. It's annoying to have to pick shit ever. It's the job of the developer. But I'm not saying it's bad.
I like them. But then he literally says, but I like them.
Then what are you complaining about? Just fucking sit there and tweak those sliders, dude. Chill. Fucking.
Well, it just gets me all excited. He's going to shit talk Last of Us difficulty curves. Then he's like, but it's fine. That's kind of how it. That was really the difficulty is weird.
There is a
video.
part
It's
where
kind of
he
like-
talks about Dark Souls. I'm really curious about that. I gotta say. I'm gonna
I'm
watch
sure
it
it's
on my
not
own.
gonna be-
I'm gonna watch it on my own.
Yeah.
You can tune into the stream if you're gonna like be driving or something. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'll tune in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. We're giving the reins back to the captain of the ship.
Yeah, maybe I'll get some deving done today in this dev stream. All right.
At some point.
Fucking viewers drop
Yeah.
to like 5 people immediately. All right.
Damn it.
Okay.
People, stick around.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See ya. I got to do this shit again because it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah. Okay. Talk to you later.